Carl Martin Truex Jr., a lot of excitement. Carl Edwards up here trying to take my job. Can you help me?
Yeah, where is he? I'll try.
Well, talk about this race tonight. A lot of excitement, a lot for the fans, but you guys have a lot riding on this race as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is the last race you want to go home and watch on TV as a driver. So we'll just see what happens. Our Napa Toyota has been pretty good yesterday in practice, and we won this thing last year. Hopefully, we'll just do that again. But I don't know. We'll see. Our car's pretty good. I think we've got a good shot at it. It's just a matter of doing the right deal on the pit stop. A lot of guys probably stay out. Some will do 2, some will do 4. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I think our car's fast enough to do it. Just a matter of making it happen.
Let's go back to Carl Edwards. Back to you, JR. JR, take it away.
All right, Hermie, thanks a lot. You can see the excitement building down there at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We are ready for all-star racing. It's nothing but winning here, and $1 million on the line. Thanks to Carl Edwards for helping us out tonight. And folks, sit back and fasten your seatbelts because you're in for a wild ride. The all-star race is coming up next.
Okay, boys, let's wrap this up. I gotta get home. We're idea men. That's why NASCAR hired us. How do you grow the NASCAR brand?
Gentlemen, gentlemen, gentlemen. Prepare to have your minds blown while I blow your minds.
How did you get in here?
Well, that's not important. What is important is the exciting excitement I have for you today. Imagine an event bigger than any other.
Step inside. Lay your eyes on that wondrous sight.
Imagine, gentlemen, if you will, a race where only the best drivers participate. Where there are no points, only cold, hard cash. Where brothers bump.
He's wrecked it, and he took Kurt with him!
And teammates tussle.
Somebody better keep me away from Denny Hamlin.
For a piece of that beautiful, glorious trophy. Heroes made that night will live forever. Memories made there will last a lifetime. The spectacular spectacle. Spectacle spectacular. Radical. Yes! The all-star race is next on Speed. And that'll be $500.
Stars will soon be in the sky, but NASCAR stars are already here on the ground at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tonight's mantra, boys have at it, takes on new meaning in this race as drivers take their cars to the edge of sanity. Fans in over 82 million homes are doing what you're doing right now, joining us for Speed's exclusive coverage of the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race. And something new greeting the drivers and the crowd at this year's All-Star Race with a screen this big. You know we are in for a huge night. And the drivers are ready. What about Jimmy Johnson? He says this event is like no other, and he should know he has won this race twice. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart won this race as an owner driver in 2009. It was his very first win for Stewart Haas Racing. So they've won the All-Star race, but Carl Edwards has not, and he is hungry. His appetite is ready for $1 million. Hello, everyone. I'm Krista Voda. Welcome to Speed's biggest night, one of NASCAR's biggest paychecks. You know, other all-star events, a time to joke, relax, take it easy. Not here, not now. As DW says, tonight is a great night to get even, and that could just follow the continuation of what we've seen all season, domination of feuds and fighting. We know it's going to be good. And covering this entire 1.5-mile track, our all-star team of reporters. To start things off in our pit reports, let's go to Steve Burns. Hi, Steve.
Well, Krista, Kyle Busch picked up his 97th NASCAR win here just last night in the truck race. Kyle, what would mean more to you, that $1 million or bragging rights for Joe Gibbs Racing? They've never won the All-Star race.
Both of them, really. It'd certainly be nice to give our guys the win here. They deserve it. They work hard, and everybody at the shop, everybody here that's going to be pitting the car tonight, all the friends and family that come out for this event. So it's a great race. It's a lot of fun. People say it's my kind of race, but it's the check or the steering wheel, and I've been really good at the steering wheel part. So hopefully tonight we can bring home the check and bring a win for Joe Gibbs Racing in the All-Star race.
All right, Kyle, it'll be exciting to watch. Good luck to you.
I hope so. Thank you.
Matt Yoakum?
Kevin Harvick took home $1 million with his win in the All-Star race in 2007. And Kevin, with all the events that have transpired over the past couple weeks, including probation, it's $1 million. How aggressive can you race tonight?
Well, I think you just have to go out there and race and as hard as you can to try to win the race and not do anything way out of line. So in the end, it's about a trophy and it's about $1 million, and we'll do what we need to.
He's got the right sponsor. His buddies from Daughtry are inside the bus, and I'll tell you what, with $1 million, it could be a heck of a party later tonight.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won the big show, but tonight he is going to start 13th in the showdown. You got a ways to go before you're going to collect $1 million. How hard are you going to run to win it all?
We're going to run hard. We want to see what our car can do, and we'd like to get into the All-Star race outright. And there's a lot of strategy involved in that second, and that's going into the second segment with the pit stop, and we can see what we can do. But we worked on the car, and we feel like it's pretty fast, and we're just going to run really hard, and I'd rather get in outright. The fans worked really hard voting for not only myself but all the drivers, and you know, if we can't, you know, if we can get into the All-Star race outright, I think that would that'd be a good accomplishment. Coming from where we're coming from, there's a lot of good cars in this field, so we're going to work hard.
All right, good luck to you, Junior. Thank you. Krista?
Thanks, Dick. So Kyle and Kevin, relax because they're in the All-Star race. Dale Jr. will be racing very soon in that showdown, and you heard him. He is going for broke. So we've heard from our crew here on the ground. Let's go upstairs and open up the mic for two mics and a DW. Mike Joy, Michael Waltrip, and Darrell Waltrip.
Thanks, Krista. The Waltrip brothers have both won Stock Car Racing's All-Star Night, albeit 11 years apart. But in your respective careers, what did it mean to you both to win the All-Star race?
Well, Mike, I drove for a Junior and a Johnson. They just happened to be the same guy. And he built me a car in 1985 that was special, a special car with a special engine for this race. He wanted to be the guy to win the first one. He put that car on the racetrack, and then he left it up to me. He expected me to go out there and win that race, and by golly, it worked out pretty darn good.
I can hear old Junior now saying, Darrell, you better win this darn race. My case was a lot different. I showed up here not even qualified for the All-Star race. So I'm like these guys that are getting ready to line up in the showdown. I got to race my way into this darn baby. I want my team in the All-Star race. I want to be a part of the All-Star race, and that's what these guys on pit road are thinking right now.
So will it be a night of retaliation? Everybody's going to run hard for $1 million, and as you've heard, some great memories.
Well, Mike, I like racing and I like money, just like all of these guys. Well, then you need to like Speed on Facebook for your chance to win $10,000. Click the like button at facebook.com/speed and stay tuned because later in the broadcast, we will show a special bonus code that will give you 10 additional sweepstakes entries. And as you heard the boys say, everyone in this showdown trying to get in the big event. There you see Marcus Ambrose, Martin Truex. He won the showdown last year and made it and nearly won the $1 million, just barely missing out to Kurt Busch last year. These drivers know they only get one shot a year. Every one of the drivers grew up racing for broke on Saturday nights. You're watching exclusively on Speed.
Well, one of the cats up front is a fellow named Earnhardt.
Elliott goes to the inside, racing on pit road.
As you can see, the tempers are hot when there's that much money on the line.
No way.
Oh, he got him. Oh, he got him loose. Got him. He got him.
Speed's presentation of the NASCAR Sprint Showdown is presented by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Brought to you in part by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by Pennzoil, not just oil, Pennzoil. The All-Star race is a lightning-fast voyage into the unknown, but one thing we do know, the electricity in the air tonight is unlike that of any other race. It's a big night for these drivers, a big night for this sport, and a special event to enjoy on Speed. Getting ready for the showdown, and that is one driver who will be racing in the the showdown, a crowd favorite as he gets introduced. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to race his way into the Sprint All-Star event. All of the drivers starting to come over to their cars. There is an electricity. We've seen Jeff Burton, Bobby Labonte, Clint Boyer came by to talk to his teammate Paul Menard. You know, the Charlotte Motor Speedway has unveiled their big screen, the world's largest television, but here at Speed, we have a debut of our own, the touch screen. Theirs is 5 stories high. Ours can tell 5 million stories. Larry McReynolds and Jeff Hammond are inside, ready to tell us how it works.
Thank you, Krista. Yes, we're inside Speed's Hollywood Hotel, and we're going to give you an opportunity to be able to see our new information source right here, the new touch screen.
Well, it's a new toy for us, and Jeff Hammond and I love new toys, and what this will allow us to do is take the viewer to places maybe we've never taken you before, especially on this Saturday night shootout called the Sprint All-Star Race.
Well, let's go right here to the Toyota race format for the Sprint Showdown so we can take a quick look at it and see what we've got going on here. Now, it's kind of working with us kind of hard here, but what we're looking at, Larry, 2 20-lap segments. And the most important thing is that break in between. You already heard Dale Earnhardt Jr. talking about it. Some strategy could come into play right there as far as determining the winner.
Yeah, because it's just like a caution coming out with 20 laps to go. But what I love also about it, that final 20 laps, 20 laps of green flag racing. You see the winner and the second place driver will advance. It's the only race tonight that second place means anything, but there's one other way. It's the leading vote getter from the fans. That will make our field of 21 for the Sprint All-Star race.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, big guy, because we've been here at Speed. We've been kind of keeping up with this right now. Understand, fans, you know, it's unofficial, but we've got a pretty good idea here through our sources. We've been kind of like keeping up with the vote. And again, it's all exit polls. But we've been checking on it, so we want to take a quick look right here.
And we're not getting into politics,
no,
I
we're
promise
not.
you.
We promise you right. But you can see right now Dale Earnhardt Jr. in red, Joey Logano in blue, and Larry, I don't know about you, but the state of Connecticut, it's the only one right now supporting his driver.
Well, it's Joey Logano's home state, and I think I've done the math. I can go up to 50, and if you see, that includes Alaska to Hawaii. So the way I see it, that is 49 to 1. I think in politics they call that a landslide.
But understand, folks, this right here is nothing but unofficial. The main thing right there, definitely unofficial.
Boys.
Now, Krista, we've been having a lot of fun in here with the new touchscreen. Hopefully, you're having a lot of fun outside.
Well, I was just going to say, boys and their toys, just what we need, more technology for you two. And again, we were just having a little fun with that, an unofficial prediction. Dale Earnhardt Jr., of course, saying he wants to race his way in. He wants to do it the way he knows fans want him to do it. He is getting ready to race, but so is Joey Logano. There is the fan favorite, Dale Earnhardt Jr., with a special Save the Music paint scheme. And there is Joey Logano, and we saw his home state, Connecticut, pulling through. Boris said he just walked by us here on the grid. He is racing tonight as well. All of these drivers getting ready, and if you have never seen an all-star race, pay attention, because if you miss a little, you will miss a lot. Speed's biggest night is about to go green, and this race winning is the only thing.
Racing day, so loud out here I can't hear a thing. Man, the fans are going wild. And these drivers came to rock, and no place else but Fox knows how to do it NASCAR style.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
Hey, now here we go, race day. Don't you be going slow. Keep that pedal down on the floor. Push it to the crowd, can't take no more. Been here since the flag came down. Be here to the last lap around. Worked all week, it's time to play. Gonna get a little bit sideways. Here since the flag came down. Be here to the last lap around. Worked all week, it's time to play. Gonna get a little bit sideways.
And you better believe we're we're going to get a little bit sideways. It's NASCAR Sprint All-Star Night, and we have the showdown coming up first. Dierks Bentley, the singer of that song, is here. So is Brad Paisley. In fact, Brad Paisley just walked by, said hello down here on the grid. He is with Rick Hendrick. All the drivers starting to get to their cars. There is a thickness behind me of people, and I know Larry McReynolds and Jeff Hammond, you guys are jealous because you're not down here, but I know you've got your all your toys inside.
Oh yeah, Crystal, we're ready to go. I can tell you right now, I'm ready to get it done for sure. That's the main thing, is just making the right calls on pit road. And you know, every now and then you got to have a crew chief make those kind of calls. So we're going to get an opportunity to talk to Kevin Bono Mannion. And Kevin, we want to know right now. I talked to your driver earlier today, and he said something about you guys that tried the setups that you won the race with here in October. It didn't work. You know, did you get the right adjustments made? Are you ready for tonight?
Well, Jeff, that's a great question, and I think we did. You know, it's tonight's all about winning the race and going for that million. So, with that said, we're going to try our best, and if we don't have a car that can win, we're going to practice and we're going to try and test a few things and get ready for that 600 next week.
All right, thanks a lot, Bono. Kevin Bono Mannion, the Jamie McMurray's crew chief, and of course, we're getting ready to go racing. We keep it down here trackside for tonight's opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, in respect to our nation and in honor of our military service men and women, please rise and remove your hats as President and Chief Executive Officer of Cabarrus Regional Partnership, John Cox, offers tonight's invocation.
Lord, the NASCAR nation bows its head over 100,000 in Concord, North Carolina, and millions around the world, asking your presence and your blessing tonight on these fans, our teams, and their crews. And Lord, God bless the United States of America. I pray in Jesus' name, amen.
Now remain standing as the U.S. Army Brass Brigade performs God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Let's hear it for the...
Charlotte Motor Speedway in the backyard of nearly every NASCAR team. There you see Charlotte, North Carolina. We are just a little bit north of that in Concord, North Carolina for the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And there on our Google map, Larry Mack, I think we might be able to see your house. I'm not sure.
But you're absolutely right. This is the home field. This is the backyard for the drivers, for the crews, their families, their kids are out here. They're going to watch this big night on Saturday night.
And a lot of them are down there. I saw a bunch of them, but yeah, the rest of them are watching on Speed.
It's all about the family, folks. I mean, when you get an opportunity, I was born and raised here in Charlotte. This All-Star event has just grown bigger and bigger each and every year. The fans, the families, everybody that's here tonight, they're so excited about it because you know what? They get to be a part of it. They really, really do. And when they get ready to drop the green flag here in a minute, they're going to be just as fired up as the drivers and the crews. Believe me, sometimes the family can get you in trouble faster than anything. They get you in one of them fights.
You sound like you're talking of experience. Hey, do you guys tweet?
Yes, sir. I'm working on it.
Hollywood Jeff.
We want to thank all of you who have joined the largest social media party for this year's Sprint All-Star Race on the Speed Social Tracker. What's going on there, Larry?
It looks like to me a tweet house.
You can join the chat live at speed.com/allstar. All of our speed friends tweeting tonight. You are a part of this year's All-Star race. There you see Dale Earnhardt Jr., Joey Logano, a couple of the drivers who will be racing in this showdown. Paul Menard getting ready. Clint Boyer was down there talking to him, giving him some advice before this race. That's our pole sitter, David Reagan, on the pole for last year's showdown, back on the pole this year, trying to race his way in a big race, the All-Star event. And before we go racing, we've got to get those famous words. Let's head back downstairs and get this party started.
Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome our Grand Marshal, Sprint customer, Katie Sneed.
Gentlemen, start your
Engines are fired, the drivers are ready, the electricity is about through the roof. Let's head upstairs to the gentleman who will be calling tonight's All-Star race, Mike and the Waltrips.
I just felt a shock. I think she's right. It's all about the $1 million, but first, this is no mere consolation race. This sprint showdown in itself, Darrell, has pretty much an all-star field.
I believe, Mike, this is the strongest field of cars I've seen in this race before. David Reagan starting on the pole, fastest qualifying speed of the year anywhere, 191 miles an hour. You got 4 of the first 6 guys that are all predicted to be first-time winners. You've got winners in this race. You've got Jeff Burton, you got Logano, you got Truex, you got Vickers. They are winners, proven winners. But the guy we're all going to keep an eye on starts 13th tonight. That's Dale Jr. That makes this a big deal, boys.
Yeah, and Mike, you got all these winners in these fast cars. If you're going to want this $1 million at the end of the night and you're in this race, you better be a gambler. There's 27 teams looking for 3 spots. And when we come to halfway, strategy is going to play a part in who wins this race. And I can't wait to see who does what, because they got to go out of the box in order to win in this event.
Will you pit or won't you? We're going to find out as we get set for the Sprint Showdown at Charlotte Motor Speedway, live on Speed.
And it's, hey now, here we go. Gonna get a little bit
Slideways has been our NASCAR on Fox theme all season, and this afternoon, in front of a huge crowd, Dierks Bentley. He's here, he entertained, he rocked. Here's the Walmart starting grid for tonight's Sprint Showdown. Fastest qualifying lap of the season, as Michael pointed out, for David Reagan, A.J. Allmendinger alongside. All Ford front row, Paul Menard in a Chevy, Brad Keselowski's Dodge, row 2, Jeff Burton Chevrolet, Marcus Ambrose in a Ford. Martin Truex Jr., runner-up last year, Toyota against David Gilliland's Ford. Row 5, Joey Logano and Brian Vickers in Toyotas. Row 6, Toyotas for Casey Mears and Mike Skinner. Row 7, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevy and Bobby Labonte's Toyota. Row 8, Landon Castle's Chevrolet and Travis Koppel's Ford. Row 9, Todd Bodine and his Toyota and J.J. Yaley driving a Chevy. Joe Nemechek, Andy Lally, a Toyota and a Ford. And it's T.J. Bell and David Starr, another Toyota and Ford combination. Row 12, Tony Raines and Boris Said, both driving Fords. Row 13, the Ford of Derek Cope, the Chevy of David Stremme, and Brian Keselowski rounds out the 27-car field in his Dodge.
Let's see if we can get Marcus on the phone here on the headset. Hey, Marcos, it's DW. Got a copy?
10-4.
Buddy, you got a fast car tonight. How's the car, and are you all fizzed up for this thing?
I'm going to have to be. There's $1 million on the line here, so we just want to do the transfer. We want to keep the car straight. We've got a great shot, but the Wall Ford's really been fast all practice. Just got to keep my head on my shoulders, and hopefully it works out our way.
All right, my friend, good luck, and see if you can squeeze a little milk out of that rock.
Well, I won't need to if I can win $1 million tonight.
Good luck, buddy.
All right. Let's get some late stories from pit road. Steve Burns.
Mike, A.J. Allmendinger comes in here on a mission. He wasn't disappointed about having engine trouble in Dover. He was mad. He's going to start second tonight. Remember, the top 2 race their way in to the big money show, the Sprint All-Star Race. Matt?
Steve Truex and Allmendinger both know what it means to have a chance at $1 million. By winning this event, Paul Menard starts third. He's hoping for that chance, but like Michael touched on, Slugger Labby's crew chief told me, your $1 million chances tonight will come down to one call, whether you pit or don't. Dick Bergeron?
Well, Joey Logano is going to have to drive hard tonight. He blew an engine in practice. That means he has to start dead last. I talked to him moments ago. Logano said he plans to pass cars on the very first lap and then use pit strategy to do the rest to win this race tonight, Mike.
Thanks, Dick. Drivers dropping to the rear include Logano for that engine change. And for work outside of impound, David Stremme and Todd Bodine will also drop to the rear for the start. Here's our Funai track description.
And the description should just say speed, Mike. Man, this place has got some grip, and these cars are really fast tonight. Darrell, when they dive into turn 1, turn 3, over 200 miles an hour, and they're going to take a while to sort it out. They're going to be side by side, probably even 3 wide.
Probably even. I'm pretty sure you're right about that. 4 wide, maybe.
Another difficult thing, Mike, is we look at restarts. The front straightaway is relatively flat, and so when they try to get all that power to the ground, it wants to spin the wheels. That could be a key play in who's going to win this thing at the end, getting a good restart.
Let's have a look at the race format once again, because tonight is different from any other day or night of NASCAR Sprint Cup racing. These cars will race 20 laps. Caution flag laps will count. They'll have a competition yellow after 20 laps at halftime, if you will, and the pit stop is optional. And then in the second 20 laps, only the green flag laps will count.
Yeah, and this is where we were talking about. I think you got to do some gambling here. You got to think outside the box. Don't do what everybody else does. Do something different to be in the front when it counts.
Look at that TV screen.
I love that. Man, that thing is crystal clear. It's
Dale
like you're
Jr.
right in there.
We're in there with Dale Jr.
Before you decide you want one for your basement, it weighs 332 tons.
Yeah. I'll find a place for it.
Look at the size of that baby.
200 by 80, and they lit it up fully for the first time when we came on the air at 7 o'clock. The Sprint Showdown. First half, opening kickoff. David Reagan, A.J. Allmendinger. Pace car is in. And Reagan, second generation driver from Georgia, brings him to the line. Green flag, we're racing.
Boy, Brad Keselowski immediately gave a shot to A.J. Allmendinger to get him going. Whoa, Menard, bad loose down there in the middle of 1.
3 wide off turn 2 already. Marcus trying to stick his nose between Keselowski and Truex.
And he brings the 9 up high behind Keselowski. 2x2 into the corner with Reagan well out front. He will lead the first lap.
Yeah, Menard his car was really loose down in turn 1, but he's coming back now. We know he's fast.
Tony Raines bounced off the wall, but continues. Well, it's no one groove racetrack. They're 2 and 3 wide all the way back.
Martin Truex, a strong run through 1 and 2, got under Keselowski, and now shooting for Jeff Burton as they go into 1.
Truex is 56 on the move and into 4th place. Behind Reagan, Allmendinger, and Menard. Bobby Labonte got into the wall that lap.
Yeah, this track is just really, really slick, and we got trouble turn 1. The car, hard lick.
Landon Castle down to the bottom of the racetrack, and Derek Cope's car.
He just wanted to go straight.
Cope heavily damaged and slides into the mud in the infield.
Right away.
Boy, that 64 car of Cope rammed into 09 of Castle. I mean, he just hit him running wide open. That was a big hit.
Look, though, Darrell, Landon Castle's window net's down. That means Landon's okay, or was able to lower the net himself. And the main part of the contact was to that left rear tire area. You can see just ahead of the tire, the door was still in pretty good shape. But, man, that was scary looking. Derek Cope didn't have anywhere to go.
No, it wasn't Derek's fault. It came right up in front of him. Castle came right up in front of him.
Now this happened back at about 22nd place, way deep in the field. Let's show you what happened.
I believe something happened to the 09, because you'll see him.
Look at there, left rear tire.
You see he's got the smoke, and
that's the left rear
tires
blow all
down.
to pieces.
And he's sideways getting in the corner. And now just hang on here, because this is going to get big and ugly.
Check out that camera angle. Great work, guys.
Now watch this thing when it goes back up the hill. Here, you think he's going to stay down? You think he's going to stay down? Go high, go high, go high. One made it. Bam!
Oh,
One
what
didn't.
a lick in the driver's door. On our Fox Exmo Extreme Slow-Mo Cam, both drivers have climbed from their cars. They are both okay.
Look at that rear spring bouncing through the air.
That's just that's an incredible hit to the left rear of the 09 car.
These cars are amazing. The way you can run into each other and walk away. We just said both drivers are out. They walked away. I can't believe it. What an impact.
Landon Castle was 19th at the time of this crash that's put us under caution at lap 3 of the Sprint Showdown. Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Showdown, presented in part by Lowe's Consumer Credit Card. Choose 5% off everything every day when you use your Lowe's Consumer Credit Card. By Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR. Put the fuel of NASCAR in your car. And by Toyota. 6 laps complete under caution. You want to win big tonight? Speed's giving fans the chance to win a cash jackpot. Go to facebook.com/speed, click the like button at the top of the page, and if you've already registered, click win $10,000 on the left sidebar and get ready to enter your bonus code. Stay tuned. Coming up, we'll show you the special bonus code to give you 10 additional sweepstakes entries.
Let's take a look at this again, Mike. This is just huge. It starts with the 09 car right here on the inside. You can see that he's got a left rear tire down. He knows it. From a spotter standpoint of view right here, Mike, you would be saying go high, because you would assume that he's going to go down. Got the wheels locked down, so you think, well, he's going to stay down there. He's going to stay down, go high. But as you can see, he's starting to drift back up the racetrack. The 30 car, Strimmy just makes it by, but the 09, nowhere to go.
What a great job by Joe Nemechek. You saw Joe, he anticipated maybe that car going back up the track. He went low, cleared the 09 of Landon Castle, and look at the destruction and damage. Rear spring flying through the air.
Spring going right there.
All kinds of action. And
now Derek Cope was trying to follow Strimmy through on the high side, saw the hole closing up, cut left, but could not get away from Castle.
He was committed.
Right.
He could not change course. I mean, you're going 160 miles an hour.
Yeah, a lot of people will say, even maybe faster than that, there are a lot of people say, why didn't you just go low? Well, once you go one way, you can't make that decision to go the other way. Nemechek's decision to go low was made well before you saw him going low. He felt like from what he saw, his best bet was to go to where Landon Castle was, thinking he wouldn't be there when he got there. Obviously, Joe was right, Derek was wrong.
And James Finch's car is torn up. Finch took delivery of a beautifully restored 67 Chevelle this weekend and is parading it around the coach lot. That one looks pretty good. This one, not so much. Now, these laps count in this first 20-lap half of the Sprint Showdown. These laps are counting.
And this is also playing into these guys' strategy, Mike. Every lap that they put on these tires under caution means that's that many less at the end of the race will be on them if they choose not to change them. So as they get this lengthy caution here at the beginning of the race, when they race out to the midpoint, to the halftime, this could play into their strategy to say we're staying out.
Getting ready for the restart. Here are the drivers who stopped under this caution. Todd Bodine, Brian Keselowski, Tony Raines, Joe Nemechek, and Travis Kvapil. Boris Seb took his car to the garage with some right side damage.
Joey Logano has raced up to the 15th place. You see him there in the orange car, number 20. He's made his way past 6-8 cars already, so he's traveling.
Landon Castle released from the care center. He is okay. No free pass on this caution. Green flag.
Truex is ready to go, wasn't he?
Martin Truex, he's all over the back end of Allmendinger, trying to get him going. They may have the advantage on the outside. Oh, Martin pushed up right there in the middle of the corner.
But Dinger is going to exit turn 2 with the lead by half a car length. Can he hold it? No. Reagan comes storming back on the inside.
It's 2 fast Fords at the front of the field right now. Jack Roush says he's got the car to beat in David Reagan's car.
Menard looking in that bright yellow car in 3rd. Truex 4th.
Whoa.
Keselowski 5th.
Boy, AJ just slammed the door on the Menard right there going through the trial.
He tried to slam it, Darrell.
Cost him his momentum, and Menard exits the corner in 2nd.
But here comes Allmendinger back on the outside, runs him down the hill too. Didn't like that move he put on him on the front straightaway, I don't believe.
I think what we're seeing right there, Michael, is that steam under the hood.
And some under the helmet.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of that too.
I think that's a fair call on both accounts.
3 wide right there. Joey Logano is on a tear, man. He is coming through the field.
Logano's number 20 and Travis Kvapil's David Gilliland's 34, and Bobby Labonte, who hasn't missed an all-star race since '95, right in the middle of it. Let's go down to the Care Center.
Landon Castle out of the Care Center. That was a huge hit. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. You just need it for these guys. It's security benefits, Chevy. You know, we just need to get some laps. This is our car for next week. You know, these guys at Phoenix Racing work really hard, and it's tough. You know, this is the Open. You know, so you know, this stuff shouldn't happen on lap 2. But
did you know the tire went down to start it?
Yeah, I felt it going down, and I was lifting out of the throttle, you know, to try to save the car. It's just terrible, you know. It's you know, security benefits. Being a teacher today puts us in this race, you know, and they're going to put us in the next one. So, you know, hopefully we can do better next week with a different car.
Glad you're okay. Thanks, Larry.
Thanks to Derek Cope, also checked and released at the Care Center. 12 down, 8 laps to halftime. And David Reagan finds himself getting reeled in by Paul Menard at the front as Casey Mears battles Dale Jr. There is the lead battle with Allmendinger 3rd and Truex 4th.
Yeah, that halfway point's fast approaching, Darrell. These guys have got to make some serious decisions. I like the way this 27 car is handling. He looks to be closing in on the 6. Steve Burns, what are they saying down there with David Reagan?
Well, Michael, here's the issue for that 6-car David Reagan. He says, I'm a little bit on the splitter getting into turn 1. Matt Yoakum.
Labby told his driver, Paul Menard, take it easy, conservative early on until the pressures build up, because he was on the splitter. Now, as Michael mentioned, with his laps winding off and that key track position, Michael and Darrell, that 27 car, it's going to be hard to make that decision to pit.
Well, you know what I like about Menard? I know in practice he ran 20 laps, slowed down, like he was under caution, and then he ran 20 more laps to see what his car would do, and it did just fine.
I won a Daytona 500 with Slugger Labby, and I came to know really well that he's a gambler. He'll roll the dice. I predict with the way that car's driving, he probably won't come to pit road.
Yeah, with those caution laps, I think it's a no-brainer. I think you stay out.
5 laps to halftime, and 2 drivers who have never been in an all-star finale. David Reagan and Paul Menard out front.
Let me make that a my-brainer. I'm not sure about it anyway.
They are pulling away from Allmendinger, and Menard had run the fastest lap of this race. That now belongs to David Reagan, whose second lap is a 28.99.
That 6 car it's been bad fast. I mean, all year it's been bad fast. He's a guy that should be a guy that's going to win a race here pretty quick.
Battle for 11th. Gilliland and Earnhardt have been going at it, and Dale Jr. makes the pass.
And I mean a points-paying race, a regular cup race. Got a good shot here tonight.
Matt?
Mike Jr.'s made it up to 12. That's where he restarted and dropped back a spot. His biggest issue, just getting back to the gas. Very unsecure feeling. He says it's comfortable getting in, but his exit is killing him.
Andy Lally has gone to the garage, joining Boris Said, Landon Castle, and Derek Cope. 3 laps to halftime.
You know, I'm almost thinking if I'm Paul Menard, I want to follow David Reagan right now. Make him be the first one to decide whether to go to pit road or not.
I want to, if I'm going to stay out, I want to save a little bit of my stuff.
5th place, Brad Keselowski, Marcus Ambrose, who got up to Keselowski's bumper and then dropped 2 car lengths back. Right behind them, side by side, Logano almost went to the dirt to pass Jeff Burton. That was very nearly a pass in the grass.
And you look, Logano started in the back of the field. He shot shotgun, and here he is, man. He is marching toward the front.
From 25th to 20th, and here it is, almost a pass in the grass, and this one was a pass.
Stuck that nose under there and moved Jeff Burton up and was able to get right on by.
Well, 1 lap to halftime, and it looks like David Reagan will lead it. Still stung by that Daytona 500 restart that perhaps cost him a win in the Great American Race. Reagan, who made his move too soon, appears to be able to hold off Paul Menard. Now they'll come past the halfway sign and then likely on the back straightaway. NASCAR will wave the caution and it'll be halftime.
And it'll be decision time.
I will say this. Lap times have fallen off a little bit more than I would have thought they would. That last time by 29.91, fast lap a second quicker at 28.99. That could factor into your decision. The caution's out.
All right, the field cycled through, so everyone took lap 20 under green, and the caution waves. Last year, David Reagan led all the first 20 laps, but finished 6th in the showdown.
History's been known to repeat itself.
It's halftime. They'll have the chance to make pit stops if they wish. What will they do? Let's begin with Dick Berggren.
Well, Greg Zipadelli, who is crew chief for Joey Logano, told me before the start of this race that he was going to make his decision on the fly. I'm listening to his radio, and he has not yet told his driver what he's going to do. Matt.
Down in the 27 pit, Slugger Labby, much like an NFL coach with different options, he said, you know, the King used to say, circumstances dictate. Well, right now they've got their track position. They've told their driver, stay out. We're not coming. Steve?
David Reagan sounds very confident in the race car. Matt saying that he's a little bit snug on landing in turn 1, but he said, you know what, guys, I can back up my corner just a little bit to fix that. They, too, will stay out.
We may not know until they get to the commit cone what the plan is. That's when they have to decide at that cone whether they're coming or not. And the first two are not. And everyone else except Keselowski among the top half dozen or so are in.
That's what always happens. The leader is a sitting duck. Whatever he does, do the opposite.
Dale Jr. stayed out. So did Casey Mears.
And you guys, we saw what happened at the end of the race at Dover last week. About the same scenario. 20 or 30 laps on the tires. Mark Martin stays out, running 14th or 15th and runs second. Has a chance to win the race. Staying out, I think, is a great call.
I think it is too, and let me tell you why. This is the Darlington tire, the right side tire. Think about Regan Smith. 30 laps on his tires at Darlington, was able to hold off guys with 2 tires.
But I want to go one step further, Mike. I've also been a driver, and if I'm running in 3rd place and the whole world behind me pitted, I would come on the radio and say, are you sure this was the right thing to do?
All right. A lot of drivers took only 2 tires. We'll find out why when we come back. Under caution, getting ready to go green at Charlotte. A sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. David Reagan's lap 2 was the fastest lap of the night, just under 29 seconds. For more in-car audio, live race radio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile at sprint.com/speed. Here's some radio from David Reagan's crew chief.
They're not going to catch it because the tire's here. We just got to focus on this restart. That's probably going to be our race right here.
DW, you think that was a subtle reminder of the restart that he didn't execute properly down in Daytona, which cost him a chance to win that race?
Maybe so, but I think what Drew's really saying is, look, don't complain about not having tires. That's not what's going to beat you. Focus, concentrate, run the laps, hit your marks. We got this thing.
All right, the first 6 drivers stayed out. The Napa car of Truex got 2 tires. So did Ambrose, Logano, and Burton. Bobby Labonte got 2 and way to the inside for the lead. Bad Brad. How about that?
Well, he timed it perfectly, and he's been running up there and pushing people on every restart. He just pushed himself to the lead that time. We'll find out if clean air means anything.
Wow, what a restart that was.
And David Reagan wakes up in second, 3 wide. The Dinger Ambrose and Casey Mears.
4 new tires and nowhere to go.
Mike, all these guys right now back in that gaggle right there, they're thinking, we got to go, we got to go. And that's when something usually goes wrong.
Only green flag laps count in this segment. Second place, Menard inside Reagan.
I think this is what Drew Blickensherfer was trying to tell David Reagan. Focus. Don't worry about the tires. That's not what's going to beat you. That restart might be what beat you, and he reminded him of that.
But you know, Darrell, every now and then these athletes will step up and do something special. And what Brad Keselowski, don't blame it all on Reagan. What Brad Keselowski did on that start was special.
While they battle for second, one car is closing on that pair, and it's Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, and he's bringing Truex and Logano with him. Look, those first 6, 7, 8 cars are all gaining on our leaders, so those tires are paying off a little bit.
And Allmendinger with his 4. Allmendinger of his 4 got up there. He's getting up there pretty quickly as well.
What Earnhardt wants more than anything is to race his way into the All-Star race and not have to fall back on the possibility of being the fan vote favorite.
Yeah, there's such an assumption that he has that wrapped up, but I know Junior would like to do it the hard way.
He's getting ready to have company on the inside. Martin Truex drives on the inside of Dale Jr. What a lot of these guys, Truex on back, Logano, the people that pitted, they'd like to see maybe one caution in the middle of this baby. Bunch them back up, put us on better tires than those guys on their bumper, and let us see if we can't do something with them.
Oh, that would definitely change things if you got a caution, especially if you're back there with Allmendinger, got 4, and guys that got 2.
Joey Logano on the move. You're riding with him as he works underneath Earnhardt, and with him comes Jeff Burton and Allmendinger on the inside.
Junior was the last good car that didn't take tires, Darrell, and these guys with tires have caught him. They're driving by him. When they catch the other guys, can they drive by them?
15 laps to go, Matt.
And Mike Jr. just came on and told Steve Letarte the car absolutely way too tight on his entry down into turn 3, and it's costing him.
Oh, yeah, you can see it right there, Matt. He just backed off. Jeff Burton just dove under him and passed him getting into 3.
Burton's pass, though, leaves him 1.8 seconds out of second place. And first and second are the only places that matter.
And I believe those guys running first and second right now, Keselowski and Menard, I believe they're pretty happy. Menard's sitting there saying, okay, you and I, let's just leave it like it is.
This is Keselowski's first showdown. He has competed in 2 All-Star races with finishes of 7 and 17.
I thought I was having a flashback there for a minute when that 2 car took the lead, because you remember how strong he was.
Car in the wall, turn 4. Caution is out for the number 30 of David Stremme.
It's another car that stayed out.
Hard contact.
We haven't seen any sign of tire issues, and even though Stremme was a car that stayed out, looks like that right front tire is blown, but we haven't seen any problems with the tires here.
No, you're right, Michael. He was the last car not to pit at the halftime break.
But you think about the dominance of that 2 car over here last year with Kurt Busch at the wheel, and here this thing is running, looking pretty stout right here tonight.
What we do now, Darrell? Come get some tires or stay out?
No, man, you made your bed. Got to lay in it.
I bet you Dale Jr. might think about coming to get
Well, now there
tires.
might be somebody like him, but the guys up front, I think they got what they got.
There is Stremme, who was running 17th, up and into the wall just ahead of Todd Bodine.
He's up against that wall, and I think he's just holding it there, Mike, because he knows there's cars coming behind him. He doesn't want to come down in front of anybody.
Let's check with the leaders pit. Steve?
Brad Keselowski just said that start was really cool. That was fun. But he also said my car is really tight in the center as soon as that caution flew.
Now, did you not mention a second ago that a caution would be very helpful to some of these guys?
You know who it's mostly helpful to? Us. This is going to be crazy, this finish. Watch this. You got Brad Keselowski diving to the inside, timing it perfectly, and diving to the inside of Reagan and making that move. Reagan tried to crowd him, but Brad wasn't having any of it.
He's been pretty up on the wheel on both of the restarts. He was pushing somebody every time they took off.
That was as good a restart as you'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll see some more like that later tonight.
I didn't say it was the best you'd see. All right. Who's coming for tires?
Well, I think there's a couple of guys that might consider it.
I think they'll break it about Ambrose. Start coming in.
Marcus would be the 8th place car.
Marcus faked it and stayed out.
Yeah. Earnhardt's in. Mears. Quapple.
Come on down here. Come on down.
You know what Dale Jr. is saying? Lonely. I'm Mr. Lonely.
Matt.
Mike, Steve Letarte told me they did not want to rely on the fan vote as their entry in case there was an issue. They wanted to get one of those 2 spots. They know they can't win the race with the way the car is now absolutely plowing, so they know they needed to bring the car down and make some adjustments. They pulled a spring rubber as well as 2 other adjustments on this 88 machine.
Thanks, Matt. These caution laps in the second half of the Sprint Showdown do not count. We'll be right back. When they take the green, there will be 12 laps to go in the Sprint Showdown.
I wonder if old David Reagan can pay his team back here and have a restart like Brad put on him. He's in position to do it.
Keselowski, Menard, Reagan, Truex, Logano, Burton. Who's going to win it? Green flag.
Oh. Man, Burton just got into the back of Truex. Got him a little slideways.
Logano tried to stick his nose in there. He gets up into Menard.
Oh, we got
Digger gets into him, and away they go. Around goes Vickers.
No caution yet.
Caution's out, inside, caution's out.
Boy, that was aggressive.
You know what I call that? UGLY. And there ain't nobody got an alibi for that one.
Sure, we're flat spotted RB.
That's just ugly.
Joey Logano had a head of steam, and he was going to take advantage of it.
And a tire rub on the left front of Paul Menard as a result of that contact.
That baby.
And the right rear has gone up pretty well, too. Remember, these caution laps do not count. Who are we going to look at on this restart? How about Paul Menard?
Yeah, they get the restarts are tough over here, man. You just don't realize that so many times this happens.
We see he tried to anticipate it a little bit, Darrell, and then he spun his tires, and Truex got in the back of him.
Yep, he got into the side of the 2 car a little bit, and here comes Joey Logano saying, excuse me, pardon me, coming through.
There's a hole there.
I'll make one, I'll make another one.
There is now. And up they went, and not sure how Brian Vickers got turned around, but he did.
Burton crowded him down on the apron.
Okay.
Burton crowded Vickers down on the apron.
4 wide.
For a minute. This is when you say, you all right? Caution's out.
Look at AJ.
Now watch the 31 car turn down right there into the Vickers car and put him on the apron and spun him out.
Look at Logano. He's just acting like Paul Menard isn't even there. And you know, we talked about those 4 tires that one guy has, 43, AJ Allmendinger. Look where he comes out of this crash in.
He's happy man.
However, since caution laps don't count, we're going to revert to the restart order we had on the last restart. We didn't complete a lap.
I hate howevers and yow buts and oh by the ways. And
there's Brian Vickers. And watch the black and yellow cat car.
He just turns down like he's not there.
And he's lucky he didn't get crashed. Just Brian spins around.
Well, we're going to see a little bit of thread the needle here.
This ought to be fun to watch from up here. Four, I duck.
You know, Mike, you talked about we'll revert back to the way they restarted, but some of these cats have come to pit road, so they'll be out of the mix. It'll be interesting to see what Paul Menard does. I think you got to pit and work on that sucker, but maybe not.
No.
Slugger's a gambler, but his tires, his fender's all messed up.
I know, but man, you can't come down to pit road. You're done. You got to hang it out, man.
All right, Matt is in Menard's pit.
Guys, they are going to gamble and stay out. Slugger Labby told him Jeff Burton pulled up alongside. Burton doesn't think it's a concern. And Slugger told it, if we pit, we're going to be at the back. There's so few laps left. We'll end up finishing 15th. Let's stay out and see if it rubs. If it rubs, we'll just take it to the garage. We're going for the money.
Richard Slugger Labby from Maine. Crew chief for
Paul Menard. Caution come out, so we'll have to see.
I'm in total agreement.
Oh no, I'm with Slugger on that one.
We'll quit if it's bad, but we ain't gonna win if we pit.
That's it.
All right, Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. 27 cars started this race, and the biggest mover is Joey Logano. He has gained 20 spots from starting at the back due to an engine change.
You got to love it, though, Mike. You talk about Allmendinger. He took 4 tires. He was back there about 12th on that last restart. And now look at him, and he might be the guy in the catbird seat. It's funny how things work out for you sometimes.
Monday, Speed is proud to be a part of the next chapter in NASCAR history. Ned Jarrett, Lee Petty, Bobby Allison, car owner Bud Moore, and the Silver Fox, David Pearson, are enshrined in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and you will see the induction ceremony Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Speed.
The restart's going to look a little bit different this time. Allmendinger was able to keep that spot. Menard lost his. Wonder what those cats are thinking about all this. What I want to tell you tweeters out there, these restarts are, as long as we keep having them, they're going to be that aggressive. Those guys are going to get in each other and shove on one another.
Rutledge was typing with one hand and had fried chicken in the other.
That right there is heaven.
All right, restart again. It'll be 12 laps to go. Keselowski, Reagan. This time Allmendinger with Martin Truex. Logano, Ambrose, Menard, Burton. Who is going to win the sprint showdown? Green flag.
Reagan just can't get going. I mean, every restart he has lagged back. He just can't take off with those other guys, and that's really hurting him.
Look at Ambrose up on the outside, trying to take them 3 wide.
Boy, Allmendinger's there.
Loose.
Oh, another car up the hill.
Yeah, Menard got with Truex. Martin drops back. More tire rub on Menard.
Good save right there, boys.
That wasn't a little bit of payback, was it?
Now there's a Menard.
Look at A.J. Allmendinger.
Oh, he gets under Menard. Racing his teammate hard.
Hey, who's loving every bit of this, though? The cat out front. He's a happy camper.
Allmendinger, Ambrose, teammates racing for 4th. Keselowski out front of Reagan and Logano.
Look at that 9 car go down that back straightaway.
Ambrose into 4th.
Engine number 9 coming on down the line.
Yeah, when he got to turn 3, he was able to tuck it down to the bottom, too.
Yeah.
That's a good combination.
Gilliland with them in a 6-car breakaway. 11 to go.
Tell you what, that 2 car leading this thing, they have turned the corner. This combination is one of those combinations that I thought would really pay off. Paul Wolf and Brad Keselowski, they are finally dialing this 2 car in, and they're starting to get some performance out of that thing.
Burton trying to fight his way back.
2 outside. 1
Haley
outside,
goes up
just at
high.
81, just 81.
Earnhardt Jr., who moves to 11.
You ever notice how those Penske cars, no matter where they are, run good when it gets around the Indy 500 Memorial Day?
Well, it's running good right now.
Yeah, he's got him a comfortable lead, and of course, our man David Reagan, who started on the pole, is looking pretty safe in 2nd right now.
David Starr has gone to the garage with 10 to go.
What about our buddy Joey Logano in that Home Depot car? He's been able to race his way up to the 3rd spot from last.
And the only trouble is, 3rd place is no place.
It doesn't do you any good.
The first 2 finishers transfer along with the fan vote. And Brad Keselowski, Logano, and Ambrose have all just run their fastest laps of the race.
Sun's going down, speeds are going up.
Fast, man. These cars are bad fast.
The 2 leaders have not made a pit stop in this race. If or when will Joey Logano's tire stop pay off?
He's got his hands full right now just holding off Marcos, which is not going to really make a lot of difference because the first 2 cars, the 2 and the 6, they're pretty much got it made right now. Unless one of those guys messes up, they look like the 2 favorites to me to move on.
Earnhardt into 9th. Burton to 10th.
And look way back here. I mean, the 2 cars going into turn 1, and here goes Dale Jr. at the line now. He's about to hold back straight away behind.
And Logano's got a mirror full of Ambrose with Allmendinger.
I tell you who's fighting back and cutting that lead down on the 2 car is David Reagan in the 6. He's going to be up there knocking on the door before this thing's over with. I don't know if he'll try to make a pass or not, but he's going to be there.
His last lap, Darrell, was 2/10 quicker than Keselowski's.
Well, that's the car that we mentioned in the opening that set the fastest time of the year so far anywhere in that 6 car with David Reagan.
You know, if I'm David Reagan and I get to Keselowski, if I can pass him around the high side and just go on my merry way, I might do that. But I don't want to get pinched down under him and take a chance on making a mistake, get sideways, and bump that cat and cost you both.
Yeah, well, you don't want to get to racing each other and pull these other guys back into the picture. You don't want to do that. But this does pay a little bit of dough, you know.
Oh, yeah, $47,000 to win. Ambrose inside Logano. This is for 3rd. 2 seconds behind the leaders, and now that's a 3-way battle.
Now Marcus will start saying, start racing each other up there, boys, and I'll come join you.
He's got a fast car. I mean, if he could you know, if he wasn't so far behind, he'd probably have a shot here. But I don't think he can cut that. I don't think he can cut that gap down.
4.5 to go. David Reagan just a quarter second behind Brad Keselowski. He's got 4 laps now to do it.
And he is there. And the 2 cars kind of slowed down. And here comes the 6. He's going to pass him. He's got to run off that turn 2 over there. I believe he's got enough steam to do it.
That was Reagan's radio. Michael, all he needs to do is finish second. How important is it to win this race?
Well, when you're a kid, all you think about is a trophy, and that's what's out there at the end is a trophy. Let's go get that trophy, Darrell.
What did we say when we came over here? I don't want to run second. I don't care what it is. We want to win something, man. Go home with something.
That's when your crew chief will tell you, be careful, but pass him. I'm like, well, I don't know how to do both those things.
Right. Or you hear those dreaded words, big picture.
Yeah. There is no big picture tonight.
No.
I mean, right now, I mean, sure, you can say these 2 guys are going to transfer.
Get up under him. He'll give it to you.
Yeah, it's
worried about fuel.
Get up. I ain't worried about fuel. Those Dodges don't get great fuel mileage.
2 to go.
Get up under him. He'll give it to you. That's not true.
Here he goes.
Get under him.
Oh, here he goes. Right here. Here he goes. He's got him down the back.
There you go. Do not let him down. That away, bud. That away. You're coming to the white. Still there. Still there. Clear. Clear.
Nice move for David Reagan. He is back to the lead over Brad Keselowski. White flag in the wind. 1 lap to go.
All I can tell you is Reagan is lucky he got by the 2, and they better be glad there's not about 5 more to go, because that Marcos Ambrose is coming in a hurry.
David Reagan has 2 nationwide wins. He has never seen the checkered flag first in a Sprint Cup car.
Well, he's getting ready to see it.
Keselowski second. Ambrose closing hard as they come off turn 4 for the final time.
The All-Star race. Good job, guys.
The sprint showdown to David Reagan and Brad Keselowski.
I just love a car race.
I do too. Well, you know what I like? Cat started on the pole, got shuffled around a little bit there, got his composure. Crew chief done a nice job. I tell you, Breckensurfer did a nice job of calming him down. Hit your marks, we'll get them back.
David Reagan will make the All-Star race for the first time. Brad Keselowski earns his 3rd All-Star appearance, and here's the final pass for the lead.
He got really low off too. Look at that. The car's right down on that white line. He was able to drive up underneath Brad Keselowski, and Keselowski had to see it coming. You know, that 6 car had closed on him, and when he got there, maybe Brad did say, all right, you're better than me. I'm going to see you in the All-Star race.
Must have been a lot of people seeing it coming, because Drew told him, you get under him, he'll give it to you. And he did.
I kind of wished he hadn't.
Well, Jack Krause tweeted earlier when the race started that they're going to have to go to beat that 6 car to win this race. So he was right. Congratulations, Jack.
So the Cat in the Hat earns a short trip to victory lane. Along with Drew Blickensderfer and David Reagan will catch his breath and get ready for his first All-Star race appearance.
From one set of emotions, frustration for not racing your way into the All-Star race, pounding of the steering wheel, to the high with the winner. Matt?
Krista, that pass to retake the lead could have been worth $1,047,000. What were you thinking on that restart when you saw what transpired?
You know, I just spun the tires a little bit, and I knew those guys with 2 rights would have a little bit better grip there at the beginning. But, you know, kudos to Drew and our whole UPS team. We love logistics car. It was good on the long run. We thought we may have some cautions there at the end, and once Brad and I got out, I knew that I had probably a little better car than he did, and I just tried to stay on the bottom. And I would have been happy with second for a little while, but when we got that close, I said, hey, you know, let's go win this thing. So I feel like I just ran 600 miles, though. I'll go have a drink of Coca-Cola here and get ready for the next one.
Now you're chasing a 7-digit deposit slip. You had a long talk with your crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer. What did you learn, and what are you going to try to look ahead to this next race?
Well, I think that what we saw the track did kind of what we thought it would. Freed up a little bit, gained a lot of grip. So maybe that was a good test session for our UPS team. Made a few small adjustments, and you know we got to go learn what the rules are for this All-Star race, and it's all going to be fun from here. You know, whatever happens from here on out is just going to be a bonus, and we got a shot to win this next one. So everybody, stay tuned.
Dick, stay tuned. It's all a learning experience.
Oh, it is indeed. And Brad Keselowski finishing second. Happy with that. That takes you into the big show, but you almost won it.
Yeah, you know, our goal is to transfer, but we want to win the showdown. And, you know, David was just really, really strong. I honestly think he's the car to beat tonight from what I saw. You know, he ran the fastest lap in qualifying trim of the whole field. And when we had qualifying earlier, and his car turns the middle so well. So I think he's the guy to beat, Dick, but still happy for everybody at Penske Racing. We got both cars, you know, in the big race here, the All-Star race with Kurt's Pennzoil Dodge and my Miller Lite Dodge. So, you know, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm ready to get racing and glad to make it in the big show. This is my third year getting an opportunity to do it, and the guys at Penske Racing deserve it. We just need a little bit more speed, and we can win these things. But got lucky, made the right move on the restart, and didn't wreck, and I just wish I had a little more speed to keep the lead.
It's all about winning on All-Star night. Krista.
That's right, and this is the only time Brad Keselowski's second place finish in the showdown. The only time that second matters, as we say from now. It's all about winning. Let's go ahead with Jeff Hammond and Larry McGrenn. Let's take a look at the highlights. All the drivers racing in their backyard. It's a home game at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and these guys are ready. Jeff Burton, you see racing in the showdown, but we had action early.
Yeah, this was on lap 2, and you're going to see Landon Castle in the 09 car has a left rear tire that's flat, and Derek Cope, as Landon Castle went back up the racetrack, Derek Cope in the 64, nowhere to go.
Definitely nowhere to go right there, but you see right there that halfway point, you guys had to make decisions whether to come on pit road. You see most of the field came down, but our guys on the front row, they decided to stay out. But look at this restart right here, guys. Brad Keselowski, he makes a great move to the inside, takes the lead.
And this was coming to the white flag. David Reagan said it in his interview. He got close to Brad Keselowski in that 2 car. He said, you know what? I can win this thing, and that he indeed did.
And what jumped out to me is you heard in his interview, David Reagan said, now I have to learn the rules for the All-Star race because he hasn't been in the All-Star race. He also told us to stay tuned, and we heard guys say Brad Keselowski, David Reagan may be the car to beat. There you see Reagan's crew getting the pit box ready because they are in the big show. Speed's presentation of the NASCAR Sprint Showdown is presented by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Brought to you in part by Valvoline Next Gen. Introducing Valvoline Next Gen, 50% recycled oil, 100% Valvoline protection. And by Weight Watchers, online for men, finally losing weight clicks. And we want to take a look at our Weight Watchers when it clicked moment, Charlotte Motor Speedway. And what we're talking about is a move that made a difference in our showdown race.
It had to be right here on this restart, Larry McGrenn.
Yeah, it's almost like David Reagan in the 6, who was the leader. He was focused on Paul Menard in the 27 car, and he left just enough racetrack for Brad Keselowski to take the lead. If this doesn't work, we've got 2 different drivers that transfers into the All-Star race.
Absolutely.
That is our Weight Watchers When It Click moment, brought to you by Weight Watchers Online for Men. Brad Keselowski gets the restart, the lead there, but David Reagan wins the showdown. Both drivers move on. So now we know 20 of our 21 drivers. We're still waiting for the winner of the fan vote.
Can we get a drum roll?
Yeah, I'll do a drum roll.
You do drum roll?
Yeah. Now, we really didn't see any tempers. I mean, we did see some frustration from Joey Logano and then the elation in victory lane for our drivers. Are we going to see tempers flare in this next race?
Well, we certainly know that we have Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch in the race, and we certainly know that we have Ryan Newman and Juan Pablo Montoya. We go back a couple of weeks ago to Darlington. This was after the race on pit road. A little bit of swing there as Kyle Busch just pushes Kevin Harvick's car out of the way. Of course, both drivers on probation until mid-June, but now we have bad Brad Keselowski in the race with Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch as well, where there's been a little bit of bad blood before.
Well, I think the main questions you ask, will we? Yes, we will. I mean, it's obvious that everybody is, up there on the chip. They're ready to go here. The $1 million is just the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but you've got to get there, and people are going to make each other mad. I can promise you that.
Yeah, we know this race, that's what it's all about, because without points, you're just racing for pride, prestige, and that $1 million. And if $1 million was on the line for me, I think I would knock you two out of the way to go get it.
You know, the thing, you say something about like that. You know, I've talked to a couple of drivers, most notably Clint Boyer, who's starting on the front row tonight, and he basically said to me, he said, I would not intentionally wreck anybody for $1 million, but I might accidentally wreck somebody for $1 million.
We want everyone to intentionally tweet. You guys are interactive with our all-star race this year. The best of the best go at it for a cool $1 million. Which driver will make history? Join the party on the Speed social tracker now. Rutledge and Bob are tweeting as we speak. Go to speed.com/allstar and chat with your favorite Speed personalities. We will answer some of those questions coming up right here on Speed. David Reagan gets ready to race for $1 million next.
Remember, you got no friends here. Get aggressive.
Be ready. Be ready.
Green flag, green flag.
Clear, clear. Attaway, bud. Attaway. Pull it on up. Come on.
That was ridiculous, man. What was he doing?
I don't know, man. As long as you're okay, that's important.
Good job on that start there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just got lucky.
David, you just made the all-star race. Good job, guys.
Great job, Drew. You're the man.
That's what we heard after just a 40-lap showdown. We still have 100 laps to go as we're racing in the shadow of downtown Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City. And at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, they are lighting up the night. All the fans ready for the big feature event, the All-Star Race. Welcome back inside. Chris Devoto alongside Larry McReynolds and Jeff Hammond. And we are taking fans inside like never before. We've mentioned all the tweets, the social tracker, but we're also going inside with some crew chiefs. Earlier today, we actually wired up and talked to Kevin Bono Mannion, crew chief for Jamie McMurray.
Hey, man. Yeah. All right, I'm going to go to work now, so got an hour before the garage opens, so get with Randall and Kevin, our engineers, and come up with a plan for tonight. Bobby's a big Detroit fan. Red Sox took care of him. What do you say, old man? Are you going to open the brake up a little bit? I'm going to help you, Dad? Well, I mean, we're fairly aggressive right now. That's what I'm wondering. You can't have a water cooler, but you can have fans. Everyone ready for a meeting? We'll get them together, have a meeting. This is a race that only basically pays to win. All the glory, all the money, all the eggs are in one basket to win. We know we can win. We know how to win. Finishing second's no good. The goal is to win. It's very hot out tonight. Pit crew, drink plenty of fluids. Have some fun. All right, fellas, have a good night. Thank you.
And in 20 seconds, I heard Bono say win 5 times. What would you guys?
It's all about.
Exactly. You guys are crew chiefs. So what would you do? What would you be telling your drivers right now?
Well, I noticed one thing that he didn't bring into that conversation, and I did at least back in my day. In a race like this, you need to make sure that you protect your driver if something happens. You don't start the fight, but you make darn sure you finish it, Larry.
Can we say 1989?
Well, you can say 1989, or you could say 2010 or 2011 right now, because I still feel like that's what you've got to do. You've got to let your driver know you got to go out there hanging on the edge. We got you covered.
Well, unlike any other race, they know when 2 of their pit stops are going to be, and that's pretty much going to be at halfway in that first segment, lap 50. We know under green, we're going to change 4 tires. We also know before we go back to racing for that last 10 laps, it's going to be another 4-tire stop. And guys, just do what you do every single pit stop. We say it and say it and say it. Don't beat yourself.
And pit stops more important and more integral to the race with that last 10-lap shootout. Speaking of the showdown, we saw a major wreck. This was early on, and again, these guys were going for broke, trying to race their way for $1 million. We've seen some good stuff already. More to come. Loves driver introductions at the All-Star Race. Look at the crowd gathering. That is what is coming up. Introductions like no other. And in the meantime, it won't be long until we show you the special bonus code for the All-Star Race Sweepstakes. You will be able to enter the special code on Facebook for 10 additional sweepstakes entries, or enter via text on your mobile phone. Simply text All-Star to 76060. Stay tuned for the bonus code and your chance at 10 grand. And we talked about boys and their toys earlier in the show, and you see Jeff Hamm and Larry Mack nowhere to be found because they found technology.
Well, we're over here playing a little bit, Krista. You know, but the thing is, it's this new touchscreen. You get a lot of good information, folks. And the main thing right now, Larry, as you know, I look at this race, there's some drivers I think have a great chance of maybe winning this thing. And I've got my favorite driver. We can take a look here at Sprint Analytics, and basically it's a tell-all. So when you go through here, you can see we left it blank. I'm telling you right now, Larry, I'm going to go with our point leader, Carl Edwards right here. I believe he's the guy that can get it done, folks. He's had 5 starts here. His best finish is 4th. 8-to-1 odds, but right now he's leading the points. I believe he's hot, and I'm going to also say, if you look and see how that number 6 car ran, that 99 will be just as strong.
I wouldn't bet against Cousin Carl, but my man, he's been in 5 All-Star races. He's only finished 1, and I know those odds aren't very good, but he has been fast ever since they unloaded. And I want you to take a look, Mr. Hammond, at my odds. 3-to-1. I think Kyle Busch, Joe Gibbs Racing, they get their first All-Star win ever in the 20 years they've been in existence.
We might have a feud going on right here between you two. I love it. But you guys didn't mention the driver that I really like, our most recent winner in the Sprint Cup Series. He won at Dover, and he's standing by with Dick Berggren.
And I wouldn't bet against Matt Kenseth either. Say, could you use an extra $1 million?
Well, yeah, I got Ross's race team, and I got 3 kids to put through college. What do you think?
I think you could. How hard are you going to drive to get it tonight?
Oh, man, we drive as hard as we can every week, but certainly this is kind of a no-holds-barred, no points, consequences, or anything, and it's all about going out there and trying to win. So I think everybody will be racing their hardest, that's for sure.
All right, good luck, Matt Kenseth. Thank you.
And I love that he mentioned that he has to put his kids through college, so he is racing no holds barred. And if he keeps racing like he's done all season, he just might be able to do it, guys.
But right here, Krista, as we see the 17 get past the 5 right there, but the key to that pit stop was these guys coming down, going to go with 4 tires. Jimmy Finnick, along with his driver, Matt Kenseth, says, Jimmy, what do you think about 2 tires? They make a quick call. They both agree. They're on the same page. The team responds, Larry. I think that was what was so impressive. They did it on the fly. They got the 2 tires. They got track position. They beat Mark Martin. I mean, he made Mark, look, the veteran, made it look easy.
Well, quite honestly, I was totally taken off guard when they did that, when they went with the 2 tires, just like I was with Mark Martin and those guys going with no tires. But tonight, that's the thinking structure I think you have to have. You have to think out of the box, because if you follow the leader, guess what you'll do? You'll follow.
You will be a follower. And Dick Berggren is standing by with a driver who is always a leader. Dick?
Well, that'd be Tony Stewart, and he's also got his teammate here, Ryan Newman. So which one of you 2 guys is better tonight? Who's got the best chance to win the $1 million?
Ryan actually gets up early in the morning and works first thing in the morning. I only got up about 3 hours ago, so I'm just starting to come into my prime hours of the day. But I don't know. I mean, he didn't get the nickname Rocket Man for nothing, so I'd say we both got a good shot.
Well, you guys are both sprint car drivers. You're used to running short races where it's hammered down all the way. So does this play into your hands, Ryan Newman? I mean, both you guys have won this thing.
Everybody here has grown up that way, so I mean, it's like the open wheel stuff for us, but it's like the late model stuff for Boyer and all these other guys. So I mean, it's 30 laps sprints, but that last 10 is going to be really intense.
Yeah, just spit it out. Spit it out. Tell them what you mean.
I'm past my prime. You already told me that.
Well, Clint Boyer, if it comes right down to the tail end of it, and these 2 guys are in front of you, would you hesitate at all to use your bumper and get them out of your way?
I'm hoping they're still sleeping and still tired. I'm just going to hopefully drive off in the sunset. But I'm telling you, these last 10 laps of this race, if you're still a part of this race, it's going to be, quite intense. It's yeah, intense is the word. That's all 3 of our words. Intense is the key word for tonight.
So how are you going to play tonight? What's your plan?
Man, hopefully we're starting up front. I just got to keep it up front, keep it in clean air, and get away from them. Stay out of the mess. And if you can do that, obviously that's the way to do it. But I'm telling you, a good pit stop on that last, before the last 10, getting yourself set up in clean air and up front in position for this win is going to be crucial.
All right, Clint Boyer, good luck to you tonight. Thank you.
Good stuff, Dick Berggren. I love that. And Tony Stewart gets up late because he turned 40 yesterday. What's the word of the day, though, boys? What do you think?
Intense.
Intense.
Get after it.
Larry Mack always has to be different. Coming up, we're going to hear those driver introductions. We can't wait. Well, it wasn't that long ago that we were racing on the track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Since then, all the hard workers getting the All-Star festivities underway, building the stage, getting the fans out there, all for driver introductions, which is coming up. But Dick Berggren is backstage where those introductions will take place with another driver.
And there's a lot of excitement going on back here, Chris. I'm with Kurt Busch, who last year not only won the All-Star race, did it in the most dramatic of fashions, bouncing off the wall on 2 separate occasions. Can you drive any harder than you drove last year to win it?
Drove the wheels off it, the right side off it, and even the bottom side of the car by bottoming out. This is what this race is all about, just letting it hang out. You know, you set the car up the most aggressive way that you can, and you're trying to get all you can out of the car every lap. So it's like 100 laps of qualifying is what it is. We saw those guys at Indy do 4 laps today. We're doing 100 tonight that same way.
You got to pass a lot of cars, though. Starting deep in the field, how do you do it?
Well, we just got to make sure we use our heads. We have 25 laps, then we make a 4-tire pit stop. During our change, we're probably not going to add fuel. The car's going to tighten up, so we got to make air pressure adjustments. Then we go from there. Do we do 2, do 4 later on? We'll see how we're running, and then make the gambling positions off of that.
And a lot of people think the favorite to win tonight is your younger brother. Have you got anything for Kyle Busch?
I think we do, and everybody's pointed at him because he's wrecked every year. He's got to win one of these times.
All right, good luck, Kurt Busch.
And they actually wrecked each other one year, brother versus brother.
Now, I was getting ready to say, Larry, you talked about the rivalries and bringing Bad Brad in here. You forgot about the brother rivalry. How about the teammates, Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch? I mean, let's face it, Kyle was looking for Denny Hamlin at the end of that race last year.
Yeah, and if you go back to that 2007 race, it took all the way to Thanksgiving for grandmother to sit Kyle and Kurt down and say, you know what, I've had enough of this, boys.
Yeah, right here's what you're talking about, too. This time, the Kyle Busch was in the 5 car, and that 2 gold car there was brother Kurt.
It's
not too good.
Both of them.
Yeah.
But she did finally sit them down, right? There,
she did.
Got
she
him
said,
back.
I would really like to enjoy our Thanksgiving dinner together.
Grandma always taking care of business. And Dick Berggren, you're still taking care of business backstage.
I am. I'm just having a grand time tonight with all these folks hanging out, getting ready for the All-Star race. Casey Kane is one of 3 drivers to have won the All-Star race by not starting in the All-Star race. The fan boat got you in. How tough is it when you have to start all the way in the back of this thing, behind everybody, to plow through them all and win it?
Well, it was pretty tough that night, but we had a really good car, and hopefully our Red Bull Toyota will be like that again tonight. We just do our best, play the strategy right, you know, do the pit stops and things, and have that track position late in the race. I think that's what you need. But this is the excitement and stuff here tonight is it's pretty awesome. The new TV on the backstretch is unreal.
And congratulations, won the burnout contest. Does that get you prepped to win the race tonight and do a big burnout for us?
Well, it's pretty exciting to actually win something and raise some money for the Casey Kane Foundation. Pennzoil put up $10,000 there, which is really awesome to be part of that. And yeah, it felt good doing a burnout. Maybe it'd be nice to do one tonight too.
Congratulations. Looking forward to seeing you in the race. Thanks, Casey.
Speaking of the burnout competition, there's Casey Kane, and this is sort of like the home run derby or the slam dunk contest and other Major League All-Star events. These are what fans got to see before this All-Star race began.
Yeah,
pretty much it's just freestyle.
It is freestyle, but they also have basically a ride-along pasture in this. It's a pretty exciting ride for that particular fan.
But, you know, it has been a while since Casey Kane got to do a burnout in pretty much a Sprint Cup Series car, because he has not won a Sprint Cup Series race since September of 2009 in Atlanta.
And it sort of looks like, yeah, he was sort of letting it all hang out. He said, this might be my only opportunity, or at least I'm going to get a warm-up for what could be another $1 million for Casey Kane tonight.
Drivers always want to show off. And the only thing I was kind of like disappointed about, Crystal, when
What's
you had
that?
an opportunity to throw that down to Dick Berggren from Grandma, you could have called him Grandpa Berggren.
I would not do that.
Why not?
You just did it.
You're sitting there in Chris Myers' seat right now.
No, you just did it. I wouldn't do that. I'm going to throw what?
Dick Berggren may have to get between 2 drivers tonight. You never know what might happen down there.
We need him, and I would never do that to my friend, Dick Berggren.
And I'm appreciative of that. I really am, Krista. Thank you so much. Denny Hamlin, this is your kind of race. I mean, hammer down, legging it all the way. Going to run it that way tonight, or you're going to hang back for a little bit anyway?
No, I'm going. Yeah, this is one of the few weeks that we kind of, I feel like I can kind of let loose and
have some fun. And obviously starting 15th, we got nothing to lose. So they said we didn't need this car anymore. That's a good thing because not sure what's going to be left of it.
Do you get mad at people in this race? I mean, just watching what we've already seen in the showdown, people were leaning pretty hard on each other. Do you get mad enough to do a payback in this thing?
No, I'll be honest with you. You don't, because you expect it. You expect the dirtiest of moves, to happen during these races because everyone's fighting for track position. And as you saw, you got to make your move on the first couple laps, or else it's going to be very, very tough to pass. So I think it's going to be an exciting race. We got 14 cars to pass, and I think we can.
So is this bring home the big check, or bring home the car in the back of the record tonight?
Without a doubt.
All right, good luck to you. We hope you bring home the big check.
And, we've been speaking a lot of feuds. We see them often this season. We see them in this race. We saw it last year.
And Kyle Busch, he was so upset about this. Yeah, upset about tearing his race car up, but he said it over the radio. He said, I had a car that could win this race. We could have won this thing tonight. And that's Denny Hamlin's hauler that he's going up in. That's not Kyle Busch's hauler.
And at least that's Joe Gibbs right behind him. You had to get between his two kids, I guess you'd have to say.
I love it. And you brought up a good point, too, with Denny Hamlin.
Well, we know pit selection is so important when it comes to pit stops. And normally the pit selection is from how you qualify. But the way the format is here, you choose your pits by how your pit crew finished in the Sprint Pit Crew Challenge on Thursday night. Denny Hamlin's team won that competition second year of the row, so they get that #1 pit selection.
They may have an upper hand. And Dick Berggren, you got somebody else?
Yeah, I do. I've got Jamie McMurray, and your crew chief, Bono Mannion, has been a bit of a star in this show already. We are following him all night long. Any pointers to him about how to handle television?
No, I saw his interview earlier, and I think...
How'd he do?
I think Bono's pretty well spoken.
How about you? You are pretty well spoken too. What's your plan for tonight?
Well, we unloaded, you've probably already heard this from Bono, but we unloaded with what we ran last year, and the car just didn't have the speed that it did last fall. So I don't know, they've made quite a few changes, and I think for us it's about getting through that first 50 laps and then making some adjustments to the car, and it's about missing the wreck that's most likely going to happen. Last year I thought we were in really good position towards the front and still got caught up in the wreck. And I think Kurt was kind of towards the back and made it through. So it's just about being in the right position at the right time.
And your car owner, Chip Ganassi, is here from Indianapolis. Got to put on a good show for him. Let's go back to the hotel.
I love that when Jamie McMurray heard Kevin Bono Mannion, he got a big smile on his face. We're about ready to smile because driver intros are coming up. You only see it once a year. Introductions with driver and their crew. It's a team sport, and you're about to see some of the faces of the athletes who stand alongside your racing heroes every single week. For the driver introductions, let's go downstairs to Steve Burns and John Roberts.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Charlotte Motor Speedway for tonight's running of the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race.
I'm Steve Burns. This is guaranteed to be one of the most thrilling nights in all of motorsports. We're glad you're along for the ride. Now, let's meet the teams that will battle it out for $1 million paycheck. Let's do this live on Speed.
Starting 18, driving the 00 Aaron's Dream Machine Toyota from Michael Waltrip Racing, please welcome from Severn, Florida, David Ruderman. Chevrolet from Furniture Row Racing. Please welcome from Cato, New York, Regan Smith.
from Las Vegas, Nevada, Kurt Busch. From Chesterfield, Virginia, Denny Hamlin.
He drives the number 29 Real Tree Outfitters Budweiser Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing from Bakersfield, California, a former All-Star winner, Kevin Harvick. He drives the number 17 Crown Royal Ford from Roush Fenway Racing. Please welcome Cambridge, Wisconsin's Matt Kenseth.
From Vallejo, California, Jeff Gordon. Jimmy Johnson.
Starting 10th, he drives the number 39 Haas Automation Chevrolet for Stewart Haas Racing from South Bend, Indiana, the Rocket Man, Ryan Newman. Starting ninth, driving the number 1 Bass Pro Shops National Wild Turkey Federation Chevrolet from Earnhardt Ganassi Racing and Joplin, Missouri. Please welcome Jamie McMurray.
Colombia, Juan Pablo Montoya. From Enumclaw, Washington, KCK.
Starting 6, driver of the number 14 Burger King Chevrolet from Stort Haas Racing, a former All-Star winner from Columbus, Indiana, Tony Stort. Starting 5th, driver of the number 25 Farmers Insurance Group Chevrolet from Hendrick Motorsports. Please welcome from Batesville, Arkansas, Mark Martin.
Driving the number 99 Aflac, now hiring Ford for Roush Fenway Racing from Columbia, Missouri, Carl Edwards. The number 16 3M Ford for Roush Fenway Racing from Vancouver, Washington, Greg Biffle.
Starting 2nd, driver of the number 33 BB&T Chevrolet from Richard Childress Racing from Emporia, Kansas, Glenn Boyer. The driver of the number 18 M&M's Toyota from Joe Gibbs Racing in Las Vegas, Nevada. Please welcome Kyle Busch.
Sprint Showdown. The runner-up driving the number 2 Miller Lite Dodge for Penske Racing from Rochester Hills, Michigan, Brad Keselowski. Number 6, UPS Ford for Roush Fenway Racing from Unadilla, Georgia, David Reagan.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to reveal the winner of the 2011 Sprint Fan Vote, please welcome Miss Sprint Cup, Monica Palumbo, Paige Duke, and Kim Kuhn.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Sprint All-Star Race. I'm Monica Palumbo, Miss Sprint Cup, hanging out with Miss Sprint Cup Paige Duke and Miss Sprint Cup Kim Kuhn. A record number of 2.4 million votes were casted this year on NASCAR.com, NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile, and on your Sprint phones. Voting concluded just a few hours ago, and you NASCAR fans spoke loud and clear. The winner of the 2011 Sprint Fan Vote and the 22nd driver to enter the Sprint All-Star Race is Dale Jr.
No surprise, the fans have spoken. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will race in the All-Star Race as voted in by the fans. And if you are not pumped after watching those introductions, well, check your pulse. Coming up, we will hear from Dale Earnhardt Jr. as he gets ready to race. You're watching Speed's coverage of the All-Star Race in Charlotte. We don't know who will win, but we do know $1 million will be given out tonight. We've already seen fireworks in the sky. Will there be fireworks on the track? The boys have said, you better believe so. Welcome back inside. Chris Devoto alongside Larry McReynolds and Jeff Hammond. And boys, I've got a new toy. You have your toy over there, the Speed Touch, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I have one of the only HTC Evo 3Ds from Sprint in my hands right now. And this thing, those pictures are in 3D. This is not just the next generation of Evo. This is the next dimension of Evo because you can take pictures. We've got 2 cameras on the back, a 5-megapixel camera on the front. Everything's in 3D, and you don't even need the fancy glasses.
You mind if I borrow that when you're finished?
Yeah. No, I'm actually, but first, I'm going to give it to you, but right now I'm going to take a picture of Matt standing by with our fan vote winner. Matt?
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his AMP guys having a great time. Junior, your 12th All-Star appearance. Can you describe the electricity and the excitement of what it means to be riding around here with your crew guys on this night?
Yeah, just listen to them fans up there, man. They're really excited about this race. We got an awesome crowd out here tonight, and a lot of crazy stuff going on this lap.
What's it mean for you to have your fans have such a huge turnout and vote you in?
Well, I got to thank them. I got to thank all the fans really for supporting the sport. All the the 2.4 million that voted, and especially my fans. They worked really hard. Supporting us, getting us the most popular drivers for so many years, and I got to thank them for being in this race tonight. We didn't have enough race car to get in there, outright, and we'll try to run hard and make them proud tonight.
Thanks, Junior.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. thanking all the fans of the sport, but especially the ones who got him into this race. His introduction, it was astounding. You could feel the thunder inside as the fans erupted. Racing coming up. Monday, Speed is proud to be a part of the next chapter in NASCAR history as Jarrett, Petty, Allison, Moore, and Pearson are enshrined. Don't miss the NASCAR Hall of Fame induction Monday at 8 Eastern, live on Speed. Of course, here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the NASCAR All-Star Race about to happen, and Larry and Jeff have some tweets to talk about. Social Tracker.
We're back over at our tour.
We're out of politics now.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Social Tracker right now. We want to show you something. We've been talking all night long about having our fans tweet, everybody, so we can find out what's going on. And Larry, my favorite one right here has to be the one they sent just a minute ago.
I wonder if it has anything to do with Hollywood Jeff.
It might have a little bit, but I think it's a great question. Have we learned anything about tires yet as far as this Sprint All-Star Race is concerned? I think we have, folks. We found out because of the way David Reagan ran, as well as Brad Keselowski, you don't have to get tires. After 40 laps in, they were still running some fast laps. So the decisions that are going to be made during these breaks going to be real important.
I kind of like this one right here. It pretty much says, does Ryan Newman remind you of Cale Yarborough? Now, of course, Cale Yarborough never ran in the All-Star race because we never had the Sprint All-Star race. But I think especially when it comes to qualifying, he pulls those gloves up all the way to those shoulders. And, of course, he doesn't have a whole lot of neck to go with it. So, yeah, I think their driving style, maybe the way they look, reminds me of each other.
Ryan's just a little bit taller.
That can't be comfortable, having your gloves all the way up to your shoulders. I don't know about that. But, Dick Bergeron, who have you got with you?
Well, I'm with the guy that's the current point leader, Carl Edwards. Never won this big race. All this drama, all this hoopla, everything that's going on. What goes through your mind when you're coming around the third and fourth corner and the green flag is about to drop for $1 million?
You think about that throttle pedal, because this race is all about going for it. It's about just keeping the throttle down, making something work. I mean, you saw in that race we just had, guys were going no holds barred. So we're racing tonight for Sheila Fortson. We're thinking about you, and we want to get this Aflac Now hiring car to the front. $1 million. The team's pumped. We're ready to go. It's going to be a good race.
Good luck to you, Steve.
Well, Dick, Jimmy Johnson driving the 5 car tonight. He did mark a little 48, just to remember it. Jimmy, you've won this race. What's the key to winning a big money race like this, a shootout?
It's changed a lot over the years, formats, and heck, I still don't even know what format we're racing under. I'm just going to go until the checkered falls. But I know at the end we have a 10-lap shootout, and track position is going to be key. With the restarts to take place, having control of the lane you want to be in, I think is important, and that means leading. So I think leading in that final 10 and controlling the race from there is key.
Good luck, Jimmy. Thank you. Krista?
I'm so glad Jimmy Johnson said it's key. From the Lowe's driver to our Lowe's 5 keys for winning this race.
Well, the first thing now, Krista, you take a look at think outside the box. Remember what Michael Waltrip said at the very beginning of our broadcast. This is one of those races you think outside the box.
And the other one, early odds are 50-50. There's a lot about the first segment because that's half the race. That's 50 laps, not to mention you're going to have one green flag pit stop in the middle of that 50 laps.
And then we talk about the 2020. You got to have enough vision to understand where do you need to be? What kind of chassis adjustments do you need to be making during these 20-lap runs we got come up later on during this course of this All-Star event? Make the right adjustments. Make sure your car's in the right position.
And don't fall in the pits. And this goes for the driver. This goes for the crew because we know we've got that green flag pit stop. We know we have that pit stop before we go to that final segment. No speeding, and make sure all those lug nuts are in place.
And, guys, I'm going to steal a little something from our boys down on pit road who are introducing the drivers. It's all or nothing.
I think Steve Burns has a future in wrestling.
I think he does, yeah. And we know someone who knows all about those keys. He is with Matt Yoakum.
Krista, the aggression level and the intensity, Jeff Gordon, does it really make this event anybody's race?
It really does. I mean, I think the qualifying format as well, we don't really know who the fastest car is out here right now. Obviously, track position is important, so we saw already in the showdown, you got to be aggressive, especially on those restarts. And this is an All-Star event, there's no points on the line. The fans, I mean, what an awesome night for this Sprint All-Star event. And our DuPont Chevrolet is fast, so, we got some work to do to get to the front. We're definitely going to have to be aggressive to do it.
Jeff was joking, Krista, that with a 5-car Jimmy Johnson, he's going to think it's Mark Martin all night long.
That's a very good point, yeah. They made the crew swap, and now they're doing number swap, so we'll see what transpires. Jeff Gordon loving all the fans, getting ready. I'm going to try my wrestler voice. We're getting ready for All-Star Racing on Speed. Stick around. Bragging rights, glory, $1 million all on the line. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. We head back downstairs for our big race opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the 14th Weather Squadron from the United States Air Force presents our nation's colors. Remain standing as Coach Joe Gibbs offers tonight's invocation.
Let's pray. Father, we celebrate the fact that we serve an all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-loving God. And Father, we celebrate the fact that you made us. We're no accidents, and we thank you for that. Father, you also knew that we were going to fall short of your glory, and you provided a way back to you through your Son, Jesus Christ. You sent him this earth. He lived a perfect life. You allowed him to go that cross and be crucified for our sins so that we would have a way back for you. We thank you for that. We pray for our country and for all those fighting around the world to protect us, bring them home safe. And Father, we pray for your protection tonight over everybody racing and everybody being here and everybody going home. In your name we pray. Amen.
In respect to our nation and in honor of our military servicemen and women, please place your right hand over your heart as the United States Army Brass Brigade performs our national anthem. Let's hear it for the United States Army Brass Brigade for their performance of our national anthem.
It's one of those races you remember from childhood, where you were, who you watched win it all. Will there be fights? It's a great night to get even with somebody. Speed's presentation of the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race is presented by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Presented in part by Lowe's Consumer Credit Card. Choose 5% off everything every day when you use your Lowe's Consumer Credit Card, and by Toyota. As the drivers get ready to go racing for $1 million, we are inside and we are getting ready for some more analysis. Larry Mack and Jeff Hammond are at the touchscreen for more.
Well, the thing is, Ronnie, everybody wants to know, how do you wind up winning $1 million, Larry? I mean, how do we get started here tonight?
Well, we talked about it. Segment 1, 50 laps. Caution laps will be included. And you have that mandatory green flag 4-tire pit stop after lap 25. And, Jeff, not a bad payday for 50 laps.
No, it really isn't, Larry. But as we get through that segment 1, now all of a sudden we get into those 20 laps we talk about. Remember, again, caution laps will count. Pit stops are optional. This is where that tire strategy will kind of come into play. Again, $25,000 for the winning that segment right there also.
And pretty much the same thing. Segment 3, 20 laps again. Caution laps will be counted. You have that pit stop that's optional between segment 2, segment 3. And look at here, Jeff, the price of poker is going up just a little bit. How about $125,000 for 20 laps?
Well, the main thing is now we get into that, the big one, folks. I mean, and it goes along with, we talk about the 10 laps, but we do not want to forget, this is where that major pit stop's going to come into play.
and 10 green flag laps. And just remember, there's also the 3 attempts at the green, white, checkered. And now we are out of the $1,000.
Circle it.
We are into the $1 million+ right there.
That's exactly right. That's what you call big money. I mean, anybody right now who's not going to get excited about a $1 million payday,
I'm excited.
Well, you must be in the morgue somewhere.
And 20 drivers that are going to be very, very mad. One that will be happy.
And it all comes down to that. Broken down almost like a football game. 4 segments of varying lengths, but we are locked and loaded for one wild night, and you know these drivers are ready. Let's go back downstairs. It's time for the command.
Now, race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome Sprint customer Aaron Thomas.
Let's find out who wants that $1 million. Gentlemen, start your engine!
That guy was taking cues from Steve Burns, pumped and ready to go. When we return, the boys upstairs will get us ready to race. Speed's biggest night is about to explode. You will want to see what happens next, only here.
Welcome back to Stock Car Racing's All-Star Night. The NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race at Charlotte Motor Speedway, presented in part by Lowe's Consumer Credit Card. Enough talk. Time to drop the rag and let's go. 100 laps, $1 million to the winner. And this first 50 lap segment is going to be very interesting. Is it going to be flat out? Strategy is going to be involved. What's going to play out here in these first 50 laps, Derek?
Well, I think if I was going to run this race tonight, I'd be working on momentum. I'd be thinking this first 50 laps. I want to see what I got. I'm going to tell my crew what they need to do. Kind of working on setting this thing up for the long haul. The other thing I'd be working on my night moves, in other words. And the other thing I'd be working on is restarts. Because I think, Michael, we've already seen it. We see it over here every time. The guy that can restart, don't spin the tires, make some good moves on those restarts, he's the cat you might have to deal with.
I like these 50 laps because I can focus on my car. I can adjust it to the track. The track's not going to change the rest of the night, so now I can make my car match the track. Plus, it's probably the only time of the night you're going to be able to run without people running into you and banging off of you. I'm going to have me a peaceful 50 laps, focus on my car, and then get ready to roll my sleeves up, baby, and run the most fierce 50 laps of the whole year.
Pull them gloves up over you, up over your elbows.
Well, Brad Keselowski's already got one super restart. That happened in the Sprint Showdown. David Reagan won it. Keselowski finished second. And let's have a look at the Sunoco starting grid, the Sprint All-Star Race. Kyle Busch, 11 wins across NASCAR, and he wins the pole opposite Clint Boyer. They got a dust up last night. Greg Biffle, Carl Edwards, 2 of those Roush Fenway Fords on row number 2. Mark Martin with Tony Stewart, 2 veterans, both driving Chevys for Rick Hendrick in the 3rd row. Casey Kane, who has won the All-Star Race with one Paulo Montoya, Toyota, and a Chevrolet. Jamie McMurray, 2-time Charlotte winner, opposite Ryan Newman, who won the All-Star Race in 2002. Jimmy Johnson has a total of 8 wins here in Charlotte, and Jeff Gordon, another 2 Hendrick Chevrolet teammates. Matt Kenseth in a Ford, Kevin Harvick in a Chevrolet, the 2007 winner. Denny Hamlin, who won 8 races last year, and the defending All-Star winner, Kurt Busch, a Toyota and a Dodge. Regan Smith, first-timer in the All-Star race. He drives a Chevy. And David Rudiman, who won the Charlotte 600 in 2009. Transferring in from the Sprint Showdown, David Reagan's Ford, Brad Keselowski's Dodge, and the runaway fan vote winner, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in his Rick Hendrick Chevrolet. Earnhardt Jr. was the first rookie to ever win the All-Star race. Now, last night we talked about the Camping World Truck Series race, and 2 of the combatants just happened to start on the front row tonight, Kyle Busch and Clint Boyer. Yes, there were fireworks on track, and then this from Boyer.
God, I hate losing that little
Takes 2 of us, bud.
Well, what do you say we dial up Clint and see how he feels tonight?
Do you have the bleeper ready?
Clint Boyer, it's DW. Got a copy there, buddy? Hey, man, you got your little buddy starting there beside you tonight. Have you got anything for him?
He got me last night. A lot more zeros behind the 1 on this check tonight. I got a best bank in town to take him to, knows what to do with it, so we'll go give him a hell of a lot more run for his money tonight.
I like your attitude, buddy. What are you going to be working on in his first 50 laps?
Just making sure we got, you know, what it takes. You know, keep the balance on the race car, work on that if needed. You know, this pit stop under green is going to be interesting. Main thing is just make sure we stay up here in clean air, and then make sure this baby's ready to go for those last 10.
All right, my friend, good luck to you, and let the rough side drag.
Thanks, Bubba.
Clint Boyer on the outside pole. Let's go down to the pole winner's pit. Matt Yoakum.
Mike Kyle Busch told me he's had some great race cars here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in the past for this event, but he just hasn't been able to get the payoff because this race demands more of an aggressive style, and that's what's got him in trouble. But when they unloaded this car yesterday, he said this is the best race car after only 15 laps of practice I've ever had here at Charlotte. I want to get the coach something he's never gotten before, an all-star trophy. He wants the check. Nick?
Carl Edwards is off to the best start of his big league Sprint Cup career, and he has got a really good chance to win this. This is his kind of race. Edwards, smart, courageous, with a great pit crew. Edwards starts in the second row. Steve.
Dick, Denny Hamlin's crew chief Mike Ford explained this night better than I could ever hope to. He said, when there are no points on the line, no repercussions, is when you see the driver in its most pure and natural state. It's when you see instincts come out, passion, and intelligence. Couldn't have said it any better.
Thanks, Steve. We have been promoting on Speed that this is a good night to get even, but these first 50 laps, probably not.
Well, probably not, and don't forget, I mean, NASCAR still got their watchful eye on this whole program, so don't think you can just go wild and crazy.
All right, format, much like it was last year. 100 laps, 150 miles, 50 laps with a 4-tire green flag stop mandatory at lap 25.
And the only thing I can tell you, that's the only thing that we can predict. They're going to run 50 laps, and we're going to change 4 tires in the middle of it. After that, strategy is going to be all over the place.
Oh, by the way, wild and crazy, just you can pick one.
Right. A caution flag after 50, then after 20 more, and the final 10. We're going to be tracking Kevin Manion, native of Massachusetts, all night long. He is the crew chief for Jamie McMurray. Picked up a win here last October at Charlotte. That's the Toyota Camry hybrid pace car. About to dive to pit road, and we're about to go green for $1 million to win.
There is no better race and no better time than to say, boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing in the All-Star race, boys.
We talked about the restarts, and Darrell, we saw right there, Clint Boyer couldn't get going. That's going to be the key at the end of this race, making sure you can get a good start. Clint's 0 for 1 on that.
I've never seen anybody that can restart the way that 18 car does. He is awesome.
Busch, Biffle, Boyer, 3-car breakaway.
Got to watch these early laps because these cars get a little bit pushy on the low air pressure, and it takes a couple of laps for them to settle in.
Edwards 4th, Mark Martin 5th, then Stewart.
See Jamie McMurray down on the bottom of the racetrack. 2-3 grooves here, Mike. You can run all over this racetrack.
Kurt Busch, last year's winner in the 22. Jeff Gordon right behind on the bottom.
Isn't that fun looking? Look at that.
Is it just my imagination, or do they really look like they're doing 210 miles an hour?
Clean and green, and it's 2 cars in front of the field. Boyer under fire from Edwards for 3rd. And here's Carl to the bottom.
You know, I think a lot of these race car drivers, maybe even Carl Edwards more than anybody, we heard Boyer's attitude there on the start. They might be a little bit tired of hearing about Kyle Busch. This is All-Star night. We're going to show Kyle Busch something.
Well, I always had a theory about a race like this. You can either be a part of the show, or you can be the show.
Kyle Busch for Joe Gibbs Racing, which has never won the All-Star race, playing Catch Me If You Can, and Greg Biffle is there.
That high line off of turn 2, that is the key. Getting up there high and getting that momentum down the back straightaway.
We've talked about all the power these Fords have. Darrell, you put one up high and keep it wound up, she really goes in.
New leader, Greg Biffle.
New leader, 16. Nice and smooth now.
I'm sure Kyle Busch will realize that maybe I need to get up high here in a lap or two. You got to try that high line if you want to pass somebody.
Biffle, Busch, Edwards. Casey Kane to 4th. Boyer has slipped to 5th. And remember, Jimmy Johnson is in the 5 tonight, battling Kevin Harvick here for 13th.
Oh, 5 time. He just went ahead and put that number on his car.
Maybe it's because Lowe's couldn't afford to give 48% off.
Maybe.
Jeff Gordon battling Kurt Busch. And that's for 10th place.
It's fun to see old Jeffy back in the DuPont car. Those colors look really good on All-Star night.
It's fun to see his daughter in pre-race trying on Dad's helmet.
You know, Michael, it was back in 1995 in this race that Dale Earnhardt Sr. showed up over here with a silver car, and that really started a trend that we've all followed ever since of having special paint jobs and special cars for this special race.
Yeah, back in 1997, driving for the Wood Brothers, I drove a car that was painted like a dog, and you know what? Ran like one.
It wouldn't hunt?
That dog wouldn't hunt at all.
That dog just wouldn't go, huh?
Matt Kenseth on the move. Up behind Ryan Newman as they pass David Rudiman.
Rudiman says, not so quickly.
Back up front, Kyle Busch coming back on Greg Biffle, the leader. Jamie Mack and Jeff Gordon, that's for 9th place.
We talked to Jamie Mack a little bit, Darrell, and he just hasn't liked his car so far this weekend.
Well, there's a word that just kind of all of a sudden popped up on the horizon a year or so ago. Speed. Got us a little. He doesn't have any speed in his car.
Here comes Kyle to the bottom. Biffle squeezes him down. Doesn't give him a whole lot of room. Biffle loves to lead.
Well, that high line, you just get so much momentum off of that corner that it's hard to pass on the bottom. Kind of bogs you down when you get underneath somebody like that.
They keep this up, they'll have Carl Edwards right with them.
Yeah, Carl's coming.
I think Carl's going to be the man, tell you the truth.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I think he's going to have the car to beat tonight.
Clint Boyer is running the high line. Mark Martin has been on the bottom, and that last time into turn 3, Martin almost made the pass on Boyer for 5th. Now, in the 25, Mark Martin, Jimmy took his number for tonight, so 25 for 25 years has been one of Rick Hendrick's car numbers. The 25 owned by Rick's dad, Papa Joe.
I just wonder, Michael, you know, with David Reagan winning that first race, how much information he was able to share with his teammates. Because all the Roush cars are in this race. That'd be a big advantage to be able to tell your teammates what the track did and adjustments they need to make.
And they also talked a lot about strategy, Darrell, whether they got tires or not. So they learned a lot during that race. And one of the key adjustments that these teams make is air pressure. So they definitely learned what kind of air pressure it took to win that first race.
Here comes Edwards in the 99. That Ford for the last 3 laps has been 1/10 of a second quicker than the 2 leaders.
Row, trouble. Little debris on the grill of the 18. You can't put up with that very long.
Jimmy Johnson in the 5, moving under Jamie McMurray for 10th place.
I got that row in there for Coach. You talked about that dog, you know. Watch Kyle try to get up behind Biffle and get real close to him. Get that low pressure area and let that debris come off the grill.
You heard the crew chief there just say to Kyle, watch that water temperature. We want to make sure we don't get in trouble here.
Yeah, because you're on max tape right now. They've got these things taped up as close to being too much as you'd ever want to go.
Now here's what's interesting. Now that Edwards has caught the 2 leaders, his lap times are no longer quicker than theirs because he's no longer in clean air.
Yeah, he's right on their bumper, so there isn't really anywhere he can go. And you're right, Mike. It changes the way your car feels when you get up behind another guy.
That, and maybe he's reviewing the situation. Maybe he's taking a look at these 2 and seeing what they got, where they're running. Carl's a smart guy. He does a lot of analyzing.
13 laps complete. 12 laps from now, if we stay green, everyone will have to make a green flag pit stop for 4 tires. 12th place, Matt Kenseth holding off Kevin Harvick.
And, you know, Mike, I think I'm at the point in the race now where I got to start making a little bit of progress to the front if I started near the back, and I think I'm going to win this baby. I'm going to have to be down on the inside of cars like you see Rudiman here on Harvick. I'm going to have to be passing cars. I need to be up there toward that top 10 so I can play some strategy at the end of this 50-lapper and figure out how to get to the front.
Harv's car looks a little tight to me, like he might need maybe some sort of a little adjustment there. He looks a little tight.
Brad Keselowski may have adjusted his car against some of that yellow paint on the wall. Dick.
Now Brad Keselowski just hit the radio and told his crew that he has lost his brakes.
Well, that'll be a problem when he comes to pit road. Out there right now, he could probably live with it, but obviously trouble later.
Yeah, the whole right side of the car is really, he's hit the wall pretty hard. The whole right side's torn up.
Hendrick Chevy's battling for 9th. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, 5-time against 4-time championships, that is.
And they, you know, there's times when Jeff Gordon has gotten a little irritated with old 5-time.
And one of those guys that we talked about, Mike, kind of creeping up toward the front is Jimmy Johnson. He started outside of the top 10, he and Jeff Gordon both, and now they're inside the top 10.
Well, just to give you some perspective, here comes the leaders. They're at the line now, and you can see that Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson are just coming off of turn 4, so they got a lot of distance to make up.
There they are, and there are the leaders. Holding station, Greg Biffle, Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards. 21 cars started this race. It was to be 22, but Trevor Bayne, the Daytona 500 winner, was unable to gain medical clearance to run this weekend. He tested well in a race car earlier this week as doctors still try to figure out what ails him. Trevor's home in Knoxville, Tennessee, watching the race, wishing, as we do, that he was here.
Look at these lap times, Michael. I mean, Biffle's a little quicker. I think that's because he's out front in clean air. 55, 52, 55, 62 on those first 5 cars.
Yeah, all the way down to 7th. Tony Stewart ran a 57. They're all within a 10th of each other.
And then you wonder why it's so hard to pass.
Here comes Montoya. When Paulo Montoya from Columbia up the hill, Jeff Gordon's going to get him back. Montoya earlier today was named one of the top 33 drivers to ever run the Indianapolis 500 in its 99-year history.
The Hendrick brigade there, both Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon drove around Juan.
6 laps to go to pit stops. Carl Edwards is there underneath Kyle Busch for 2nd place.
Kyle's car's gotten a little kind of pushy loose, kind of snaps loose on him on corner exit, and that's cost him some speed.
Edwards to 2nd. Roush Fenway Fords 1st and 2nd. Tony Stewart battling Clint Boyer, who started outside pole. This is for 5th place. And Stewart moves on. Stewart won the All-Star race here, the first victory ever for Stewart Haas Racing. And Mark Martin in that 25 tonight on the move.
A little bit surprised that Boyer wasn't able to keep pace. I thought he had a really good race car. Started on the outside pole. I thought the motivation to keep up with Kyle Busch might help him a little bit, but so far not so much.
I think who might sneak into this picture. Casey Kane started 7th. He has been running 4th just about the whole way, but pretty much in a pocket by himself. There are the Penske cars running at the back. Kurt Busch and Brad Keselowski. Keselowski reporting in that he has lost the brakes on that car.
Y'all just be ready for that. I know it's the green flag stop.
Guess he's talking about when he comes to pit road, it's going to be a challenge because he's lost his brakes. I'm going to guess that he hadn't 100% lost them, Darrell, if he thinks he can get a stop.
Yeah, he wouldn't be running that hard.
Kevin Harvick up the hill. Here comes Hamlin. The problem for Keselowski is just in front of him is David Reagan's pit. They're going to have to get him woed down in a hurry. 24 complete as Greg Biffle brings them across after they cycle through lap 25.
These pit crews that participated in the challenge the other night to see who had the fastest pit crew head-to-head, they're going to go head-to-head again right here.
And earlier this week it was Denny Hamlin's team who won the Sprint Pit Crew Challenge, so they get their first pick of pit stalls tonight.
We'll see if that's a big advantage or not, because Denny's running back in the 15th spot. He needs to make some progress here. Maybe they can help him in the pits.
Teams must take on 4 tires after completing 25 laps. Next time by, pit road will be open. We say it's all about the driver, but now it's all about the pit crews for this lap.
Well, the driver that's on the move is that cat, Matt Kenseth. He's driven into the top 10 around Jeff Gordon there, so he's made good progress through the first half of this race.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to make a mistake, Dick Berggren.
Carl Edwards running in the second position, has an excellent car on throttle coming off the corner. That's where you really want it to stick. Matt.
Kyle Busch said around lap 19, the car flipped the switch and it went to the tight side. He waved off a track bar adjustment, just air pressure, Steve.
Matt Casey Kane said his car had gotten tight in the center, but as the laps went down, he said he was starting to get loose, getting in and off. So they're going to make a chassis adjustment on the number 4 Toyota Ford Casey Kane.
Biffle leads them off pit road with Edwards. We are under green. And you see positions gained or lost, everyone coming out pretty much in the order in which they went in. Now Brad Keselowski did not stop. He has no brakes, so he'll come in after pit road is clear.
Tough night for the 22 team. He was running last with his teammate with no brakes, and now he has a bad pit stop. So
the defending champion of the All-Star race not having a good night. And here's Keselowski, who's probably going to just shut it off and creep it in.
Yeah, good call, though, to wait till everybody got off pit road. Yeah. That was a good call on his part. So who's the big winner and who's the big loser on the pit stops, guys?
Well, up front, it's about even. Greg Biffle had a half-second lead over Carl Edwards, and that lead is again half a second as they go back to green.
We talked about that long pit stop of the Kurt Busch's car, Mike. Now that's going to get worse. He has a pass-through penalty. He had a guy over the wall too fast, and you saw there, that's how close Kurt is to getting lapped. Biffle and those guys have him in sight. So first, the Penske car has a brake problem. He's out of the contention for tonight, and it looks like the same fate might strike the 22. You get a lap down here, you can get a free pass and have a shot, but those cars just aren't running well tonight. And a year ago, they were the story.
Class of the field.
Yep. So here's the pass-through penalty at pit road speed. That will take Kurt Busch off the lead lap.
But I wouldn't count him out because he can get the free pass.
Now, before the pit stop, Kyle Busch had a wrapper, piece of plastic, something there on the grill.
I got that.
Yep. Clean and good to go. Steve.
Well, Mike, just an update from Kurt Busch. He is not happy, and he's not happy about his race car, saying the car is horrible. When they stopped, Mike, they went down 3 rounds in the right rear, and that's a big, big adjustment.
And that would be different from what? I mean, it's pretty much been that way every race. I mean, he just had a tough go with that car.
Well, one of the big winners on that stop was Kyle Busch. He picked up 0.8 of a second on Greg Biffle from where they were running prior to pit stops. Casey Kane picked up 0.6 of a second. Tony Stewart came out about even. Those are your top 5.
This team's getting their legs under them, aren't they, Dale?
I tell you what, I like this team. Kenny Francis and Casey, they're going to win a race really, really soon. They have just gotten better and better and better. Tough luck last week at Dover, had an engine problem. But one thing I've noticed tonight with all these cars, they look like they're making a lot extra horsepower tonight. Can't believe how fast they're going around this racetrack.
Well, you know, they might just do a little something here or there on those engines to see if they can't crank a little bit more out of them for this short 150-mile night.
196 miles an hour into turn 3. Biffle's fastest lap of the race, 28.58 seconds. That is hauling the mail. Speeds off into turn number 1.
Can they get to 200? It's all 198.
198 on Carl, 197 on Biffle. Greg Biffle has led more tonight than in all 7 of his previous All-Star appearances combined.
Well, when you think about somebody that this format would fit very well, Greg Biffle's certainly one of those guys that comes to mind. You got to get it done. You got to be aggressive. Got to go hard.
"16 laps to halftime." Brad Keselowski comes on to pit road.
And this has worked out about like we thought it would, guys. These race car drivers are being a little bit conservative, didn't take any chances, didn't really push anyone around. They're concentrating on their cars, trying to understand what they need in order to go forward.
Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Greg Biffle, fastest lap of the race, to no surprise, 189 miles an hour. For more NASCAR stats and live race radio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile, sprint.com/speed.
I think most of these guys are looking down the track just a little bit at that $1 million prize. That's what they're thinking about.
Let's find out what's happening with Carl Edwards there in second place. Dick.
Well, Mike, as good as Carl Edwards is running right now, there is still more speed left in that car. He said the car has gotten a little bit loose on the gas coming off the corner, and the back end is a little bit squirmy. Well, if they can fix that, imagine how fast Carl Edwards 99 will go.
Well, he's knocked that margin from 1.1 seconds after the pit stops down to half a second. Ninth place, Matt Kenseth. Inside Jeff Gordon.
Looks like it. It's him. Nothing back here.
And they're closing quickly on Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson, and Clint Boyer.
I think something we maybe want to look at and think about cars that are going to be better as the evening goes on. When we look at lap times, we look, got a battle here for 6th. 5 times all over the back of Clint Boyer here.
And 5 times just steadily been marching forward, Darrell. You talked about building momentum, gaining momentum. That's exactly what this car is doing. Jimmy's picked them off one at a time. He's raced from the 11th starting position all the way up to 6th.
Well, when I look at his lap times, he just ran a 29.41. Leader right now is at a 29.43, so he is matching lap times, and that's what these crew chiefs will be looking at. If we had track position, do we have the speed?
Fastest car right now, Matt Kenseth, 29.32. And here's Kenseth underneath Mark Martin.
That's sort of been another car that just steadily, slowly driving his way to the front. And why that's important is because they're getting ready to have a break here and can grab 2 tires, make some sort of strategy call to gain the rest of that track position that they know they have good enough cars to keep.
Yeah, well, if you're just looking for track position, we can give that to you. If you're looking for speed on the racetrack, now we got to think about that.
And those cars have that speed. So now the crew chief can say, I get you that track position. I think you're fast enough to keep it.
40 down, 60 laps to go. 10 in this first segment. Apparently that piece of plastic from Busch's car has found its way to Boyer.
It's the same piece of paper. You don't reckon that Kyle loaned it to him, do you?
Let's hope not.
Check out Keselowski. We talked about the Penske car's not running good. He gets his brakes fixed and he's trying to pass the leader. What the heck? He does pass the leader.
Time to show our Facebook friends the bonus code for 10 additional entries for the $10,000 prize. Go to facebook.com/speed. Click the like button at the top of the page. If you've already registered and you're a friend of Speed, click on Win $10,000 on the left side bar and enter All-Star 2011 in the code box. That's All-Star 2011. No spaces, no hyphens. Good luck. Jeff Gordon taking 9th away from Mark Martin. 8 laps to halfway.
Man, if you haven't ever been to one of these races, you won't believe what these cars sound like when they go by. I mean, I know they make almost 900 horsepower, but darn don't it sound good.
That's what I'm saying up here every week, and I tell Larry, I said, these things are turning 10,000 RPM, and they're screaming out of the frame, man.
Listen to that sound.
Man, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Let's this thing run up the back straightaway. Just picking up speed all the way down to a 200-mile-an-hour. Now, watch this. Michael, you haven't had a chance to see this. This is our little steering wheel deal. This is Kyle Busch coming off turn 4 there. Got a lot of steering wheel into it, coming down through the front straightaway here. Hit it off into turn 1. Now watch him crank this thing down in there. Nice and smooth.
Now I'm thinking
move it much at all.
I'm thinking you want to see that steering wheel just slightly to the left and not doing a whole lot.
Yeah, it's perfect the way he's holding it right now. He's not having to fight that wheel at all.
He'll fight it later.
Oh, somebody gets up under him, he'll be fighting it.
Greg Biffle remains your leader. 5 laps to halftime. Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, Casey Kane, Tony Stewart. And how about our fan favorite? Here's Dick.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is having a real tough time tonight, Mike. Started in the back. That is where he is running. The car is just plowing through the corners. Earnhardt not handling, running in the back.
And look how much input he's having to put into his steering wheel. I mean, he's got his hands. That right hand is all the way down in his lap. He's got that thing turned so far. Look at that, how far he's having to go.
And what I didn't like about that, Darrell, it looked like when he got to the corner, he cranked it right a little bit and then had to turn left. That's when you got 2 problems. It's loose in and tight in the center, and man, that's hard to fix.
Denny Hamlin, Jamie McMurray have been battling for the last 2 laps. This is at 13th place. Hamlin takes the spot.
Just got to wonder what's going on with Hamlin. I mean, I would expect him to be a real factor in this race tonight. He was last year. He and Kyle had a big run in here last year. Thought Hamlin would charge his way right to the front. Hadn't done it yet.
Joe Gibbs Racing running 3rd and 14th.
Yeah, and Kyle Busch said, you better keep me away from Denny Hamlin. And then he said other things.
Well, maybe Denny Hamlin remembers that.
How about Regan Smith? He and Kevin Harvick going at it for 17th.
I just thought it was so cool. Regan Smith wins the Southern 500. He's going down the back straightaway on the cool down lap. And what's the first thing he says? Hey, boys, we're in the All-Star race.
You bet. 2 laps to halfway, and the caution flag will wave.
Darrell, I mean, you want to be an all-star, right? Whatever sport you're in, you want to be one of the all-stars. And Regan now is. Won one of the biggest races of the year.
That's it.
Nobody saw that coming, and I don't think anybody saw that young man from Knoxville, Tennessee, pulling into the victory lane in the Daytona 500 either. That's why this race season has been so entertaining, so many storylines.
Yep, Trevor, we wish you were here tonight, buddy.
1 lap to halftime. For the 3rd straight year, the first segment of the All-Star race has run caution-free. And Greg Biffle is going to bring it home here. Kyle Busch led 4 laps. Biffle's led 45, make it 46 as he comes by. And as the field cycles through.
You'll clear by 6.
What do you do there, Darrell?
I think he lost focus there for a second or something. I'm not really sure what he did.
That thing.
Yeah, now the caution waves.
I think he was thinking about the caution coming out.
The drivers were informed the field would cycle through under green before the caution flag waves. It would not wave over the lead car at lap 50. That caution flag is good news for Kurt Busch. He'll get the free pass and be back on the lead lap when we resume. So Greg Biffle pockets $25,000 for leading at the end of segment 1.
You know, and we talked about making some progress, Mike. 3 guys that started outside the top 10 have made their way inside it, and they're fast cars too. Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, and Jeff Gordon. And if you look at the biggest mover, it's David Rudiman. He's come from the 18th starting spot all the way up to 11th, and his times are good as well. So there could be a lot of mixing up that goes on in the next segment.
And don't forget about Kurt Busch. I said he'd get back on the lead lap with a free pass. He did. He complained about he hit the wall twice here last year in the earlier races. But at the end of the day, when it come time to go for the $1 million, they had that thing right. I wouldn't count this guy out just yet. I know he's not happy, but they can make him happy.
Well, just look what Brad Keselowski just did. Right. He drove up there and passed the leaders.
Now, the 3 drivers that fell out of the top 10 from where they started were Montoya and his teammate McMurray and Ryan Newman. They are running 12th, 14th, and 15th.
We going to get 2 tires, Darrell?
We'll have to see how this all works out here. We've bet 50 laps.
Pit road's open.
No, sorry.
Here's Dick.
Crew Chief Bob Osborne told Carl Edwards they are right on their plan. He has told the crew, be nice and smooth, boys. A little loose coming off is what they're going to try to fix on this stop. Matt.
And they debated a little bit in the 16 camp, going with 4 at this juncture. Also, wedge adjustment, the car a tick on the free side. Steve?
Matt, pretty sure Casey Kane's just going to take 2 tires. He says the car's all right, I just don't feel like I'm going anywhere. They also make a track bar adjustment, 2 tires.
Well, Carl Edwards got 2, and he got away quickly, as did Casey Kane, but there were a lot of 4 tire changes.
I like getting my 4 right now.
Yeah,
it gives me some options.
And then what do you do on the next one?
Yeah, well, then I've got options. I might stay out. There's some point I'm going to stay out, I promise you.
I'm getting nervous.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. 50 laps are in the books. Greg Biffle, the leader at 50 laps. 50 to go in the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race on Speed. Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race presented by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Presented in part by Lowe's Consumer Credit Card. Now use your Lowe's Consumer Credit Card to get 5% off everything every day, or choose special financing on purchases of $299 or more. And by Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR. Put the fuel of NASCAR in your car. 200 by 80 feet. Millions and millions. 9 million LCDs.
How many?
9 million.
Holy cow.
And a few million LCDs in front of Rutledge Wood, Kyle Petty, and friends. If you're not already playing along, don't forget, they're following the race on the Speed social tracker along with other Speed personalities. Join the conversation by going to speed.com/all-star.
That big screen back there, Michael, gives a whole new meaning to drive-in theater. Because that baby is just like sitting in you. Like we used to do back in Owensboro when we go to the Starlight.
Look at Carl. He's trying to spin out the pace car.
Yeah, he knows the driver.
Getting ready for the restart. Carl Edwards, Casey Kane, Jimmy Johnson. Took only 2 tires. So did Regan Smith and David Reagan. They line up 5th and 8th. As we're ready for the restart, 50 to go. 20, 20, and 10. 3 segments. $1 million at the finish. Carl Edwards brings him down. Green flag.
Carl was ready.
Denny Hamlin jumps to the outside. Oh. 3 wide.
Oh, Biff. Hold her down, bud. Man, that was almost big.
Jimmy Johnson takes advantage. He's 3rd. Alongside Casey Kane for 2nd. Here comes 5-time in the number 5.
He's a big mover tonight. He's got a fast car.
Kyle Busch 4th. Greg Biffle in 5th. Regan Smith up for 6th against the 17 of Kenseth.
Oh, we got a gaggle. A little bit of a problem right here, getting awfully tight.
I think Clint Boyer and David Rudiman may have some words about that restart.
Rudiman's going to give. See, you can do that here. You can push a guy down that back straightaway here, but you got to get off of him before he gets to the corner, or you'll wreck him.
Unless it's the last lap, and then you might just
then
plan
you
on.
want to wreck him.
You plan on staying on him.
Yeah. It'll be one of those moves like we saw in California with Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick.
2nd place. Jimmy Johnson could not complete the pass on Casey Kane. Kyle Busch gave it a try on the bottom. Johnson has the momentum on the top and holds on to 3rd.
Big Mo up on that outside off of 2. I tell you, you got to be able to make that. You got to be able to run the high side off of 2.
Behind them, Biffle and Kenseth are coming.
What about 5-time? We hadn't seen him running the high side all night tonight, and now he's up there and trying to make it work.
Kyle Busch likes the bottom, and his car is pretty steamy. But right there, see how it pushes up, and that momentum off of 2. Got to deal with that, baby.
Johnson 3rd, KB 4th. Here comes Biffle. The Biff up for 4th, and he's going to bring Kenseth with him if he can.
Yeah, Kenseth.
Matt Kenseth could well be the sleeper in this race.
He could be. I mean, that's his style. Kind of just where'd he come from is kind of what Matt likes to do.
And we know his crew chief's a gambler. We talk about gambling. He gambled at Dover, and that got him a victory. So
he's the kind of guy like you talked about earlier today, Darrell, before we came on the air. You want to get to that 10-lap segment, and nobody knows I'm there?
That's right.
That's Matt Kenseth.
Where did he come from?
Here's the restart. Keep an eye on the 18, the M&M's car.
He gives a
Kyle
big,
Busch.
big push to Greg Biffle, but Biffle doesn't have anywhere he can go. They're going to get 3 wide here in a second.
Biffle right there just lost his car, ran it up the hill. Lucky he didn't get into Kyle right there. That was a good save.
Regan Smith got a little jump there, but remember, he's one of those with just 2 tires. Smith is now 10th in the 78. Second place, Biffle has marched right up to Casey Kane.
Biffle's car is definitely fast. That restart did him in. He lost a couple of spots there, but I think he ought to be able to drive back up there. But here comes old 5-time. Oh, he can't hold it on the bottom. That's a bad move on the 16 part. He's done that a couple of times.
Things loose. He's fighting it.
That set of tires they put on didn't make his car very happy.
And now his teammate Kenseth had a shot at the inside, and Biffle down to block.
Look how fast Johnson goes through the center of that corner, just running up on the outside.
Yep.
Making his way, taking that momentum.
Last time.
Boy, he put the crossover on Casey Kane there, looked to the outside and then dove to the bottom and see if he can hold it.
What about a guy that can pass you low or pass you high? That's a pretty good combination.
Yeah, man, he squeezed right up in front of Casey Kane right there, was able to make that pass.
A little further back, 8th place, David Reagan and Tony Stewart. Where'd Carl go?
He's up here waiting on these guys to catch him.
Yeah, right. He's 1.9 seconds ahead and pulling away.
He knows they'll be coming.
Oh, in the wall, Casey Kane. There might have been contact from Biffle, but Kane's in the fence. Yellow is out.
All right, bud.
What a shame.
He had a great drive going tonight.
Yeah, and Biffle's having a hard time handling the bottom of turns 1 and 2. Well, look down in there at Biffle's rotors, Mike. They're glowing.
That car's done for the All-Star race.
Oh, yeah, he's crashed.
May have lost a second. Tire went down.
He doesn't think Biffle had anything to do with it, maybe.
Let's see if there's any contact or if Biffle get down under him. And
Biffle's all over him.
Oh, I don't know. That's kind of a hard one to say, but
we couldn't tell from that angle.
It's hard to say if Biffle got into him or if the right rear. I mean, he seemed to think a tire was going down, but he may not know how close Greg Biffle was to him either.
Yeah, 6-4.
I mean, you almost have to think Biffle hit him.
I mean, that's what it looked like.
There's a little mark on the left rear corner of Casey's car, but the angle's not conclusive.
I think getting in, I think it's almost that bump draft thing I was talking about. You can push a guy in a straight line, but you got to get off of him or you'll turn him around when you get to the corner. That could be what happened there. We just got to get a better look at it.
Well, what did Greg Biffle say? Let's listen.
What kind of damage you got? None, never touched him.
There you go.
And there's not even a scratch on the right front of Biffle's car.
He's clean.
When you get up on somebody like that, it's going to make them loose into the corner. So
yeah,
he didn't touch him, but certainly made it difficult for Casey to take the turn, and Casey wasn't able to take the turn.
Yeah, you're running these things on the edge anyway tonight. You're not looking for a whole lot of security. You're looking for a whole lot of speed.
Pit road's open.
Now we're only at 59 laps. We're going to have some takers.
You know what they're doing in the back? They're coming now, and they ain't coming when they get another chance.
Roger that.
Over.
David Rudeman leads them onto pit road.
Rudeman got 4 tires on the last stop, so I'd look for him to get 2 and lead these guys off pit road.
Boyer is in, Mark Martin, Montoya, McMurray, Regan Smith, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Now this is part of the strategy that we were talking about at the beginning of the race. What are you going to do on these cautions and in these segments?
So from 9th place on back, these cars that come to pit road at lap 60.
I happen to like this strategy, Mike. We talk about mixing it up. You're running back in 9th. How are you ever going to get up to 1st if you do what the guy in 1st does?
Larry and Jeff?
I actually love this strategy because, Michael, Darrell, I think you guys are spot on. You come now, and you absolutely will not pit when this caution comes out here in about 10 laps.
And, Larry, one other thing that I've been seeing and listening on the radio, a lot of these cars that did choose to come in, like Clint Boyer, his car was not doing what needed to be done, so they made a track bar adjustment as well as went underneath there and adjusted the shock to try to make the car turn better.
And I know Carl Edwards and Jimmy Johnson sitting up there running first and second, but remember, they've got the same left side tires on that they started the race. It almost puts them in a little bit of a box.
Yeah, that's what we were saying, Larry, when they only took 2 on that break there a while ago. They're going to have to put 4 on sometime, and it's probably not going to be at that good time.
And you know what it also does, Darrell? It tells these other crew chiefs, are 2 tires okay? Yes, they are more than okay. Carl drove away from everyone on 2 tires, but you can't just run on 2 tires forever. You got to have 4 at some point. And now Ruderman and the guys on back in the field, they're all set on tires for a while. Carl's going to have some issues.
61 laps complete. Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Kyle Busch has led 4 laps. Carl Edwards 11. Greg Biffle has led the most laps tonight, 46. For more NASCAR stats and in-car audio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile, sprint.com/speed.
Clint Boyer back on pit road, and they are overhauling the right front. I don't know if they're changing a spring rubber or a packer on the shock or adjusting the shock, but they made some big adjustment in the right front. Matt, what do they do, buddy?
DW, they did all of that. You pretty much hit it. He has been absolutely plowing pretty much this entire race. They've made significant adjustments every time they've had a chance. It's just not gotten any better.
You saw Casey Kane take his Camry to the garage area. He will be the first retiree from tonight's NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race. 27th annual running. 26 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 1 year, 1986. They went to Atlanta.
Listening in on Twitter a little bit, Matt Kenseth said he thinks he has maybe one of the best cars here, but man, I'm loose. And that's when your crew chief Jimmy Fenning says, okay, well, live with it.
Yeah.
If you're good and loose, then you're going to probably stay loose.
And you know, something can happen to you just like what happened to Casey Kane when you're loose getting in particularly.
Carl Edwards elects the outside lane for the restart. Jimmy Johnson inside. Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, David Reagan, Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, the top 10. Green flag.
Jimmy Johnson was pretty good on that restart. Oh man, look at them going down into 1.
3 wide.
Man, I'm glad that's the best drivers in the world.
Oh, Kurt Busch just nudged David Reagan aside. And here comes Hamlin on the bottom. Regan Smith takes him 3 wide with Ruderman.
Boy, he's not giving him a whole lot. Ruderman's not giving him a whole lot of
No.
room right there for Regan Smith, and that's going to get tight.
Ruderman made a good decision there. He said, I better back off. I mean, I want to go in that hole, but there ain't room in there.
That decision was made for him, Michael. He didn't really have a whole lot to do with it.
He was almost into David Reagan. And up at the front, second place, Carl Edwards battling the 18 of Kyle Busch because Jimmy Johnson is away as the leader. Matt?
And Kyle Busch trying to score that elusive All-Star trophy, running in the 3rd position. He says that basically our car is not as loose as anybody else, and we've got to work on that, Steve.
Matt, Jimmy Johnson saying this car is just a little bit tight in turn 1, but everything else is real good.
Whoa, Jeff Gordon just flew past Greg Biffle, and it almost turned Gordon around.
Well, you know, but what's wrong? Greg Biffle can't run the bottom in 1 and 2. And when he tries to, he plows up the hill and just about takes people out.
Big Daddy's coming. Gordon is up to 5th.
Oh, everything's brewing, Mike. This thing's looking good. I love the players that are coming to town. You got Johnson up front, Edwards, Kyle Busch, all the stars. Jeff Gordon's coming to join them.
5 to go to the end of segment 2. 65 complete. Caution flags at laps 70 and 90.
Well, there was a time when this was a house that Jimmy Johnson built, and he's trying to take that house back tonight.
Stewart turned 40 years old yesterday. And he's right there with Denny Hamlin, 7th and 8th.
I think that Hamlin's a player. I'm just saying that he's been kind of laying back here a little bit, but I think he's a player.
What a comeback for Kurt Busch. Earlier, he told his spotter, kick up his feet and go get a drink with an umbrella, because we're just riding around. He's now up there to 9th, trying to move forward.
Another car that's done a lot of moving forward. David Reagan there had a great night in the showdown, made the All-Star race. David Rudeman drives around him there in turns 3 and 4. Rudeman is one of the cars that I don't think is coming to pit road here in a few laps, so he'll get the track position, see if he can hold it.
This caution flag could be pivotal as Edwards marks time with Jimmy Johnson. When they come around, it'll be 2 laps to the end of segment 2.
I think that's your race at this point between the 5 and the 99. They got the best 2 cars at this point.
All right, in 2 laps, one of these 2 pockets 25 grand for being the segment leader. Who will it be?
It's going to be Carl if Jimmy runs up that hill. Look at that. Look at Carl go down that back straightaway. Oh my gosh. Like he had a turbo.
Got a turbo duck.
They just cued the duck right there.
69 complete. Caution at lap 70. And then the option to make a pit stop. Kyle Busch 3rd, Kenseth, Gordon the top 5, Biffle 6th, Stewart, Hamlin, Kurt, and Rudeman the top 10.
But what I love is you just don't know. You just Carl Edwards just drove by Jimmy Johnson. Did we expect that? Probably not. Did Jimmy Johnson expect that? Probably not. Who else is back there that can do that?
Keep racing, I'll let you know.
The field cycles through. And now 3 of the top 10 cars started deep in the field. As yellow is out. Hamlin started 15th, Kurt Busch 16th, Rudeman 18th. They're all in the top 10.
It would be nice to be able to explain to people, okay, these first 50 laps are pretty much going to be, they're going to finish where they started. But after that, pull up the belt, pull down your belts, get ready, because it's going to go nutty. Look at the top 10, Mike. 15, 16, and 18. The people that started in those positions have raced inside the top 10.
And Jimmy Johnson from 11th to 2nd.
Who you like now, Daryl?
Still like Carl.
It is the 2nd All-Star segment that Carl Edwards has won. Reminder, he's never cashed the $1 million check. We talked about it earlier before this race started. He's been having a little fun with that's former NASCAR Sprint Cup driver Brett Bodine, who now works for NASCAR and drives the pace car. And Carl's been all over the back of Brett's car.
And look at Brett in there. He's just smiling away because he's loving that. That's like old times right there for Brett.
Well, Carl's going to come to pit road, right?
Yep.
Get him 4 tires, you think?
If he does, will everybody pit?
No.
Okay.
There's some guys back there that have already made that decision.
I know the first car that won't pit, or I think. I shouldn't say I know. I can't see Rudeman pitting. He just got 4.
Got 4. He's in good shape.
And he's in 10th.
Stay out, stay out.
Whoa! Whoa, everybody!
Trick! I tricked him.
Oh, fake, you're right out there. All right, let's cover those who did stop. Dick?
Matt Kenseth is going to come in and take tires on his car. Carl Edwards' biggest problem is the debris on his grill. Steve.
Indecision in Jimmy Johnson's pit. Finally, the last second, Chad Canal said, come, just right side tires for Jimmy Johnson. Cars saying the balance is good on that race car.
The first 7 drivers, excuse me, 6 of the first 7 did not stop.
But right there shows you this race will make you do things that you normally don't do. That 5 car, Jimmy Johnson, Chad Canals, they live by 4 tires. Just then, they took 2. But this is the best part right here. That's what we used to do all the time back in the day till they put that cone down there, so you had to.
Yep, the orange cone is the commit cone. You must commit to pit road or not by then. Kyle Busch with a late big swing to the right.
You know, a lot of times they'll leave that in the driver's hands. Say, what do you want to do, driver? What happened with you, Bob? What happened to you, Dick? Did they stay out?
Well, Bob Osborne, we're going to ask him, why did you leave Carl Edwards out on that pit stop?
It's all about track position, Dick.
Simple as that. When will you put tires on this thing?
Well, we got a 10-minute intermission here after this 20-lap run, so it'll give us plenty of time to decide what we want to do to the car to try to make it sporty for 10 laps. We'll use that to our advantage. Hopefully this works out for us. Got a lot of cars behind us that stayed out there, so I think we're looking good.
Interesting. Thank you.
30 laps, 2 segments to go in NASCAR's All-Star Night, live on Speed. Speed's presentation of the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race presented by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. And presented in part by Lowe's Consumer Credit Card. Choose 5% off everything every day when you use your Lowe's Consumer Credit Card. And by Walmart. Take advantage of discounted race ticket offers with the Walmart $99 Family Track Pack. 70 of 100 laps, 2 of 4 segments complete. Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch will lead them to the green. Carl takes the inside. Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle, Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, David Rudiman, Jamie Mack, Regan Smith, and Mark Martin. This segment is 20 laps. It'll take us to lap 90.
Whoa, Carl spun the heck out of his tires, and he couldn't get going. And, man, look what it did.
Jeff Gordon was on the move, realized he couldn't clear Kyle Busch, and eased it off into the corner.
Remember I told you when we started I need to work on my restarts? That was going to be the key.
Man, but we got to give Carl some left side tires eventually, Darrell.
Well, I think that was what was wrong. Those tires had got a bunch of buildup on them. He didn't clean them up enough. That thing would not go when they dropped the green flag.
Kyle Busch started on the restarted up high, and he is gone. Gordon, Edwards, Biffle, Stewart. Biffle up high. Stewart on the bottom.
Biffle's car will not stay down going into one. When he drives that thing in there and tries to go low, it shoots up the racetrack.
And you know, later on, whether he's on the bottom or not, he's going to go for it.
Oh, yeah.
If he shoots up the hill, we could see a big problem.
Well, he's just going to bounce off somebody then. That'll be his plan.
Kyle Busch the leader. Jeff Gordon trying to eat into that advantage of half a second. Matt?
And Dave Rogers told Kyle Busch, just save me some fuel. That's why they stayed out for track position. Meanwhile, that 24 Gordon, he says simply, if you can fix my entry, our car is great from center exit. This could really turn out to be a great night for the 24s that won this race since 2001.
On the bottom, he is being pursued, though, by Greg Biffle. Biffle trying to come back up to where he has led the most laps tonight. Biffle, Edwards, closing on Gordon.
They're all in hot pursuit, Mike.
And those 4 cars putting a little distance on Stewart and the rest of the field.
Well, that's Kyle Busch getting out front on a restart doesn't surprise me one bit. Jeff Gordon being where he is, if I were the other guys, I'd be just a little wee bit worried about that.
Start thinking about 04 time. He's won this race 3 times.
3 times. I'm still going. I'm still hanging.
3 wide back here, and look at Jimmy Johnson.
He's got
stuck in the middle.
He's got a problem of some kind. That car's just going backward. Look at it.
Oh,
Regan Smith.
Regan Smith into the outside wall.
Hang on to it. Hang on.
Hold it. Caution out.
Hang on, buddy. Don't hit that inside.
Just kissed it.
I think it's okay. No damage to the right side.
Yeah.
I think he's all right.
But he can't see. The cockpit's full of smoke.
We sure can't see him.
That was a wild ride.
First All-Star appearance for Regan Smith, who won at Darlington.
Got that left front.
Furniture Row Racing into the All-Star event.
Got that left front bent in just a little bit, Darrell.
Yeah. Did he get a little hip there?
Hard to say.
Let's take a look at it and see if somebody helped him around. Let's see if we can get a shot of him. Here we go. Here we go.
We might have had a little help there.
I gotta think he might have had a little help there.
Matt Kenseth.
Sure did look mighty close. He might be just like Greg Biffle was, though. Never touched it.
Real fortunate to spin off 2 and not wind up in that inside wall. He just barely clipped it.
Darrell, when we come back here in a week for the 600, we may once again hear those once familiar words. He took the air off my spoiler.
It sure looks like it. But, Mike, you're going to run your car a whole lot different tonight than you're going to run it for 600 miles. You're going to have it on the edge.
And you're also going to have a lot of leg in it.
Yeah, it's going to be leg in it, yeah.
Let's have a look at Matt Kenseth's car, just because he was the closest to Regan Smith when that happened.
Yep. Oh. Yes, there's a small dent in the old front fender.
Jimmy Johnson back to pit road, guys. He didn't like that 2-tire change.
Here's the well, I tell you, they live by 4 tires. I was shocked when they took 2.
Steve?
No, he didn't like, Michael's right, he did not like that at all. He also didn't like the track position that he had. They took right sides last time. This time, they are going to take 4 tires on the number 5 Chevy for Jimmy Johnson.
Montoya, Martin, and Harvick also making pit stops here at lap 76. Tornadoes bold is how we roll, and we get a look at who we think is rolling toward victory lane. I like Jeff Gordon's chances. He started 12th, and he's done nothing but move forward. Right now in second behind Kyle Busch.
Tony Stewart's always a guy that just sort of lays in there, and when it comes time to pay the money, he goes and gets it. Just turned 40 years old yesterday. I like Burger King too, so I kind of think maybe that car is going to pull into victory lane and we'll all celebrate with a cheeseburger.
Yeah, I'm pretty hungry, but I'm going with the duck. I still think that the 99 is I think he's sitting on the hot rod right there, and I think he can get it done.
Well, I sure do like that he's spotted on these tires and hanging right with them.
Yeah.
All right, bold is how they roll. 76 complete, 24 to go. 1.5 segments remaining. And the leader at the end of this segment pockets a $125,000 bonus.
And the beat goes on.
And the stakes get higher and higher and higher.
Taking me higher.
Monday night on the Hub. We'll be live with all the drama and excitement from the fastest all-star race in the world. Plus, get up to speed on all the latest news of the world of NASCAR. NASCAR Race Hub, Monday, 7 Eastern, only on Speed.
You okay, buddy?
I feel like I got something wrong with me.
I told you this. I told you these kind of races would drive you crazy.
Kyle Busch elects the inside lane against Jeff Gordon, and I'm a little surprised by that because on the last restart, Carl started on the bottom. Kyle took off and took the lead from the outside.
You know, it was interesting. Carl picked the bottom. I'm like you, Mike. I thought all the leaders would take the high side. Carl almost wound up in the infield. He spun his tires so bad. So it'll be interesting to see Mr. Restart, Darrell, the guy you say doesn't do it any better. Can he get one of those restarts down on the bottom this time?
Well, that's his plan, to be ahead of everybody when he gets to the corner. Therefore, you would want the bottom.
Well, while our booth analysts change their tachometers to a higher chip, we're going to crank it up for you on this restart as Speed presents the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race. 77 laps complete, coming to 78. That'll be 12 laps to the final competition caution of the night. As the pace car hits pit road, let's crank it up for the restart.
All right, be ready. Ready, almost there. Going.
Complete, 20 to go. Kurt Busch trying to make something happen, trying to be Mr. Don't Count Me Out from 7th place after being a lap down.
Mike, I told you I was all up on the chip, and then you go play all that audio of all those motors flying like that. Man, that's exciting. Did we win some sort of award for that audio?
Not yes, as a matter of fact.
We did. Freddie,
you're the man.
A Sports Emmy for Outstanding Live Event Audio.
Oh, 22 just smacked the fence off turn 4. No, he didn't. He didn't hit it. Watch this, though. I mean, it was close.
No, but he almost got in the back of David Rudiman.
Well,
there.
I don't think he was too happy with Rudiman for moving up on him.
I think he's on a mission, boys.
And Rudiman's lucky he made it down the front straightaway.
Watch this. He's up on the outside, loses nose on air on the nose. Back in will slip around just so slightly, and I don't think he ever touched it.
And you know who capitalized? That purple car, Matt Kenseth. In the 17, went past Busch, now goes to work on Rudiman. But Kenseth's got a long way to go from 8th place. He's 4 seconds back of the lead.
Lord Almighty, my temperature's rising. It's burning through to my soul. Can't you just feel it? I mean, don't you feel the pressure building, the intensity?
I'm gonna have to tell Brad Paisley, ask him not to let you in any more videos of his. Although that was pretty cool.
It was. That's fun.
Here comes Carl. Carl Edwards going after Kyle Busch, who gives him room on the inside. Entering turn 1.
Yeah, but watch this off 2 over there.
Out there.
Man, that's a hard pass to make, especially on older tires like Carl's got.
Just stay patient, pick him apart.
Five laps to go when they come back.
Come on, man.
To the lap 90 caution. Only one past winner of the Sprint All-Star race in the top 5, and that's Tony Stewart in 4th. Denny Hamlin has climbed to 5th.
Wouldn't count that 11 car.
Uh-oh, got a little tight, the 18 did. Ran up the hill, and it gave Carl a run down on the bottom.
Carl ought to be able to pass him this time down there in 3 and 4. Get that bottom going here.
Wow, look at Edwards pack it into the corner.
Clear by 2.
And a new leader, Carl Edwards.
That's it. Good work.
That's it.
I told you to pick him apart.
Pick him apart. You got him.
5th place, Denny Hamlin. 6th, Jeff Gordon. 7th, David Rudiman. Kenseth is 8th, and Johnson and Newman the top 10.
That 17 car, Matt Kenseth is strong. He lost his track position, but if he could ever get it back, he might have a run at these guys.
Got a pretty good pit crew to help him do it.
Taking a long way around.
A lot of grip up high, man.
Look at that momentum. He's going to dive to the bottom. Try to make a run on Rudiman. He just used that shot off turn 4 to drive to the bottom.
7th place. 7th for Kenseth.
Put the slingshot on him.
Jimmy Johnson got him 4 tires, and he's the old Jimmy Johnson again, just driving back toward the front.
Yeah, that car, they live on 4 tires. I was shocked when they took 2 in that last, next to last stop. They're back like they need to be now.
But Johnson is 9th with 12 laps to go.
It's fixing to be 10th. I mean, excuse me, 8th.
Fixing to be.
He is.
2 laps to the final competition caution of the night. And up front, crew chief Bob Osborne said it's all about track position, and they are P1 with a lap and a half to the caution.
How about those Goodyear tires? He just didn't even never get any left ones.
Well, remember I told you this is a Darlington tire, and that thing held on at Darlington, and you know how hard that joint is on tires. So this place here, these tires are really sticking, and the track's got a lot of grip in it. Just don't know about tires. I don't think Carl's going to need any tires.
Remember that in the showdown earlier tonight, David Reagan and Brad Keselowski transferred to the All-Star race and did not take tires in those 40 laps.
Bob Osborne, all the crew chiefs on pit road were watching to see what these teams did and how the cars reacted.
Kenseth trying to get Jeff Gordon and move up into the top half dozen.
Boy, Jeff Gordon's car really fell off, didn't it? He restarted up there in the 2nd place, and he's steadily going back.
The yellow flag waves with 10 laps to go.
Just think, only 10 laps to go, Michael.
And Brad Keselowski gets another free pass. Now he's only 1 lap down.
But this could be the best 10 laps of the year. I mean, this thing is set up to where we've got the stars at the front, and they're going to dangle $1 million in front of them, boys, and say, run 2 laps and go get it.
Well, you got the cat leading it. I think it's the fastest car, 99. You got the best restarter in the business in the 18. You got the best wheel man running 3rd. And you got a cat lurking back here, Tony Stewart, who might want to make himself a nice birthday present.
Carl Edwards has already banked $150,000 in sprint bonus money.
And he is going to wear poor old Brett's car out.
Hi, Brett. Look at Brett smile.
He just smiles away.
It's now the Camry Hybrid as the pace car.
Well, get a little break here. Get a little time to think about this.
Now, we're going to take the 10-minute break. You're right, Darrell. But when these cars come to pit road now under this caution for the break, tire changes are not allowed.
Right.
That will happen after everybody rolls back out behind the pace car. Then the pits will open again. You can make a stop for tires, and when you come back out, how you come back out is how you will restart the final segment.
And that's when it's going to get interesting. Because I believe there's some guys back in the field that might just stay out when they do that. And in 10 laps, you get very far back, you're done.
The field comes to pit road for what they hope will be the final time tonight. We'll be right back with speed coverage.
All right, guys, let's have some fun tonight. Did you see the TV? Yeah, it's actually not blinding. That was another stellar stop. I'm sorry, guys, but I've just lost all composure on how to do anything right now. Find a pace car. Stay out, stay out, stay out.
Go get us some pizza or something.
Great idea on a great night here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now, what happens next is after this 10-minute break, the field goes back out behind the pace car in the order they went in. When they come around turn 4, the pits open, and you must take on 4 tires. The order in which you leave pit road, that's the restart order. So let's get downstairs. Matt.
And catching up with Kyle Busch, he's 10 laps away from a big check, a special trophy, and a big check mark for the coach, Joe Gibbs, scoring his first All-Star win. What's your biggest concern over the final 10 laps, Kyle?
Just being able to get speed for 10 laps. You know, we've got it for about 5 or 6 or so, but Carl's car just keeps on turning. He's really, really good. So we'll see how it plays out and what kind of happens. You know, typically we see this is the most exciting segment of the night, and hopefully we're not a part of the excitement until the last lap. But, you know, there could be a few cautions, and it could play that way.
One big observation he made, Steve, that the 99 of Edwards could dive about 5 to 6 car lengths deeper in the corner than he could.
Well, Matt, let's check on Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy, the stop when you took 2 tires was a bit of an adventure, got you stuck back in traffic. What's your mindset now?
Yeah, you know, we lost some track position and pitted, and none of the other fast cars stayed up front and lost some ground. I mean, we have a great car. I started deep in the pack and drove up to the lead. And, you know, going forward again right now, catching those guys. But with 10 laps to go, I don't know if I can get there. I'm going to try to see what we can do. But just don't know what to expect here. And I don't want to tear the car up. But if I can get up there and see that front row, those front 2 guys, we're definitely going to put it on them.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Carl Edwards is sitting in the car and talking to his crew chief and his engineers. This conversation has gone on since he parked the car. The decision as to what to do about this car is absolutely critical. They have not touched the car yet, Matt.
And Jeff Gordon, Dick, just putting his helmet back on. And Jeff, what do you need to do to this race car to get yourself another All-Star trophy?
Well, first I got to restart. I just completely messed up that restart. These guys in this DuPont Chevrolet have been awesome. They have given me a heck of a race car, and I got a great restart the time before that, and that one, you know, I just spun the tires. But the car is awesome, especially when we got up there in clean air. We got to roll, you know, the corner a little bit better when the car lands, so that's what we're going to try to do here with the minimal amount of adjustments we can make. But I feel confident we can get back up there. Plus, there's still a lot of stuff that's going to happen in 10 laps.
All right, what adjustments, Jeff, were you looking at most that might help this 24 car?
You have to ask that guy.
Alan Gustafson, the crew chief. Dick?
Carl Edwards, so far so good. That was a long conversation. What are we going to do for the last 10 laps?
I can't tell you that, Dick.
Well, what are you going to do for the next 10 laps? How are you going to play it?
I'm going to go out here and have some fun. To be honest with you, I'm kind of nervous.
Why?
I want to win this $1 million. I want to win this thing. It's not like I lose $1 million if we lose, but man, it just feels so good to run up front. You know, we got this Aflac now hiring Ford up front, and that's something different for me in this All-Star race to run this well. So I just got to go out there, shake it off, and go race, man. I think it's going to be a heck of a race.
Good luck, Steve.
Denny Hamlin tightening the belts right now. Dick, Denny, what is your mindset heading out for this last 10 laps? How do you approach it?
Well, this is about where we were last year. I think we might have been fourth, but now we're going to see what this #1 pit stall is all about. We need about 2 or 3 spots right here. If we do that, we're going to have a shot at winning this.
Good luck.
I'm glad we found somebody else nervous. Me and Carl.
Yeah, but don't you love that honesty from Carl?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a tough guy. We know that. I'm a little nervous.
He's a little bit nervous. So Edwards is the leader. We don't know yet how they'll restart. That'll depend on the 4-tire mandatory change. But the top 5, Edwards, Busch, Biffle, Stewart, Hamlin, and then Gordon.
Right. Before we went to break, I said I'd stay out. That'd be a winning move if you could do it.
If you could, yes.
That's probably why you can't do it, Darrell.
That was my first thought. I'm going to win this. I'm going to stay out.
And, Denny alluded to something really key. They won the pit crew challenge the other night, gave him that #1 pit box. If he can pick a couple guys off on pit road, his team performed like it did Thursday night, then he might be the guy that you had to look at to win the race.
Well, Larry, Jeff, we've said it's all about the driver, but when they roll out behind the pace car, once again, it's going to be all about the pit crew, and they could get their driver a position from which to win.
Well, I look at these guys that's up in the top 5 right now, and you just saw Denny Hamlin and his 11 crew. Remember, they won that pit crew challenge the other night, sitting there 5th. I think any spot that you can pick up on pit road right now, go back to last year, Kurt Busch's group, they picked up 3 spots on that 4-tire stop. But the one observation, guys, and a lot can happen in 10 laps, when I look at our top 5, 4 of those drivers, they have never won this All-Star race.
Larry, great observation. But, Mike, you said something about the pit crew. This is really where teamwork's really going to kind of come into play, because if this team does what they're supposed to, they're going to give that driver a shot of adrenaline, the confidence that he's up front, to go out there and really chase $1 million. And I think that's what everybody's kind of feeling right now, the nerves of knowing it's going to come down to what we can do together. The crew does their job here in a moment, and then that driver basically lay it all on the line for 10 laps.
What you're saying, Jeff, is somebody's going to make $1 million move right here in a moment.
Couldn't say it any better, Darrell. I mean, that's exactly what it boils down to. You know where the driver's mind is. That's like Carl. He knows what he needs to do. Jimmy Johnson knows what he needs to do. But he's going to need a little bit of help to put it all together, and it's going to come down on these guys when they come down pit road if they can nail it or not, Larry.
Well, I don't mean to shortcut any of the drivers, especially Carl Edwards, who has led so much of this race. But if I've got 10 laps and I know I've got at least 1 restart, I want Kyle Busch in my corner.
You said that earlier tonight, didn't you?
I believe I might have.
And there's a good chance that Matt Kenseth, who right now is 7th, may well restart higher than that. His crew has been one of, if not the best in this business all season.
Well, back in '96 when I won this thing, Darrell, I lined up on the outside of row 2. I had 2 cars in front of me between me and winning the All-Star race. That was key. I think you got to come from those. Back then, that was key, to come from those first 2 rows. But now, the way these guys run into each other, who knows where you could come from and win this baby.
I like being on the front row. That's all I can tell you.
All right, 10 laps to go, and we don't yet know how they will restart, and it's just 10 green flag laps. It's a whole lot different than what we're going to see right here next Sunday night.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
600 miles, 400 laps. This racetrack can be treacherous.
This race is 100 miles longer than any other race that we run.
Today ought to be a barn burner. It'll be wild.
The Coke 600 on Fox. It's a Twilight 600 miler.
Stay tuned to NASCAR on Fox.
5:30 Eastern Time, Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. Hope you'll join us on Fox.
This is just maybe an hour-and-a-half headache here. That's a 4.5-hour headache come Sunday night, because that's a lot of thinking and a lot of driving in one night.
So now it's time for the pit crews to get their driver all that they can get. The pace car will lead them around, and when pit road opens, 4 tires must be changed. The first car off pit road will be the first car to the green flag for the 10-lap shootout.
I like what you said, Mike. That Kenseth team, they always do special things on pit road. He could gain a couple spots here, and it'll be fun to see what Denny Hamlin is able to do with that #1 pit stall.
See, I think that's going to be, I think that might be the key. That team is fast. They won that challenge. They got that #1 pit stall. And look at them. Look at the intensity in those guys' face.
They want this opportunity. They want to show the world that they're the best.
Hamlin got him. You know, he was back in 11th, 12th position for a long time. He got him in a position to do something with this pit stall and make something happen.
Denny Hamlin started 15th. He is now 5th.
We talked about you better charge up to the top 5, get inside that top 10 throughout the night, gain that momentum all night long. This is the key. Continue the momentum. Have a great stop. Have your driver up on the chip ready to roll for these 10 laps.
Well, I said earlier, you know, Kyle Busch is the king of restarts. I mean, I'll give him that, and I think most everybody will. But what's going to happen here is this pit stop could determine where he's going to do that restart from.
We listened in on Jeff Gordon.
Man, just keep your eyes open. A lot can happen here.
Yeah. I've seen the highlights, man. It's I'll be ready.
Oh yeah.
I think he was tipping his spotter off to say, get ready for this. I'm not sure you're going to believe it.
I think everybody's a little nervous. Remember when Jeff Gordon went off into turn #1 to take the green flag for the All-Star race, and it poured down in turn #1, whacked the wall. A whole bunch of people did. NASCAR made a great decision. They said, you got backup cars? Get them out. Let's go. And he wins with a backup car.
And he won in a backup car.
That was 2001, and he hadn't won since.
Regan Smith needs a push, we're told.
Where'd he go?
He's down in turn 1 on the apron.
It'll fire up, but it won't run. It just will fire off, and that's it.
A little bit of a delay.
So they may not open pit road this time.
The intensity continues to build as we wait for this car to be pushed out of the way.
He might be, sound like he might be out of fuel.
And here's Greg Biffle.
Still low on gas? Yeah, just a couple, just 2. Take about 30 yellows and 3 green, white checkers. So you'd have to worry about it.
That ought to be enough.
Now, I've seen guys run out of gas over here.
Jeff Gordon.
We just talked about Jeff Gordon. Talked about one he won. I remember one he lost because they cut it too close.
They didn't want to put fuel in the car. They wanted it to be as light as it could possibly be. They just didn't quite put enough in it. And did Mark Martin do that too?
Can't remember on Mark. I just remember that Jeff had the car that was going to win the race.
Regan Smith gets a push start. Next week, the world will be watching when Giants Barcelona take on Man U in the UEFA Champions League final. Coverage begins Saturday, May 28th, 2 p.m. Eastern, and only on Fox.
Tell you what, next weekend, this is a great event here, no question. But next weekend, the Indy 500, the Coke 600, Formula One, man, I mean, it's all day racing.
And UEFA soccer.
And then a little soccer.
Regan Smith gets pushed to pit road. He said it would fire, but it just wouldn't run.
I think he's done, Mike. Darrell said not to count anyone out.
I think he's out of fuel, maybe. But he needs to get off. Yeah, but it'd be good if he was off pit road when the other guys come in for their stop.
See, they're waving him off because pit road was closed.
And you're right, Darrell, because he's one stall before Carl Edwards, and that's going to just throw Carl's timing, his team's timing off just a little bit. We need to get him out of the way so Carl will have a clean entry.
What wouldn't be fair for him to be there and mess up a couple of guys around him and everybody else will clean in.
Look at the crowd on hand for tonight's race. Marcus Smith told me last night that ticket sales were ahead of last year for tonight's All-Star race, plus a nice walk-up crowd. There are good tickets remaining, but ticket sales are also ahead of last year for next Sunday night's Coca-Cola 600.
And the big TV screen on the back, the concert, all the pre-race stuff. I tell you, these fans were rocking. This was as big a crowd, as big a rocking crowd as I've ever seen here at Charlotte.
Look at that TV.
That baby is right.
Nice shot of Kevin Harvick. Dirks Bentley played a concert this afternoon. Julie Roberts will play a post-race concert.
Getting anything?
No.
We got a remote control with that thing, but They must have unhooked it.
Yeah, it's about 4 feet tall.
Yeah, it's as big as the screen.
200 by 80 feet. 4 months to build it. 158 LED panels. 9 million LEDs. 11,000 man hours to create that big screen. And what resolution? Wow.
I'm just not sure about this 78 car still on pit road.
I think the only car.
And pit road is open, and they're still sitting there.
4 tires, mandatory pit stop. First off pit road will be first to the restart. Green flag. Dick Bergman.
And Bob Osborne has told his crew, be smooth. Carl Edwards is working as best he can to get around that 78 car without it interrupting his flow. Matt.
An opportunity, Dick, for these athletes on pit road to showcase their talent. Nick Odell and Jake Simonera, the tire changes for Kyle Busch going to work. Meanwhile, on the 16 at Biffle, Rodney Fetters, DW, 1-year-old Jackman. He's already around on the left side. Steve.
Matt, Nick, Chris Manich, and Mike Hicks, the tire changers on the 11. Crew Chief Mike Ford said, hit this one out of the park, boys. A little bit of a problem on the left front. Little slow stop for the 11.
Edwards, Busch, Biffle on the first 3. Kenseth from 7th to 4th. How about that?
Think any of them got in trouble, Darrell? They were racing hard off pit road.
I think they're all right. Just, I'd hate to have to figure. I'm glad we got this line here to figure out who came across when. Look at this group coming right behind here.
Watch this glob.
Watch this.
Whoa.
Hello.
001114.
Wow.
The big gainer in that group was Matt Kenseth. The big loser, Tony Stewart, dropped 3 spots exiting pit road from when he came in. And Jeff Gordon dropped 2 spots.
Hamlin, they didn't take the.
I can do my part here. Good job. Thanks for getting us back in here.
That's Matt Kenseth, and he's right.
+3.
He's on that. He's right where I wanted to be, Mike. Up on that first or second row. I think if I can see the front, I can get to the front.
Well, the Killer Bees did it again for Kenseth, the biggest gainer on pit road. And now the next green flag will be for a 10-lap shootout.
Kenseth is just like old David Pearson used to be. He just kind of ride along, and all of a sudden when it come time for the money to get the big check, he became a player.
Edwards and Busch will restart on the front row. Biffle and Kenseth. That gives Jack Roush 3 of the front 4 positions on this restart. David Rudiman up for 5th. Denny Hamlin 6th. Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman the top 10. Then Boyer, Reagan, Kurt Busch, Harvick, and Martin. And the field.
You know who I saw walking around the infield today? I was shocked when I saw him talking about Edwards and the Fords of Roush. It was Edsel Ford. He was walking around just like a race fan, had his program, and he was walking through the crowd.
He is a big race fan.
Yep.
Always has been. Getting ready for this restart. 10 green flag laps to decide it all. Carl Edwards has never banked the $1 million for the All-Star race. Can he do it?
I don't know.
I've been with him all night.
Oh, geez.
I mean,
that's why you get the big money, Darrell. Huh?
No, I mean, he's my pick. I think he can, but this is one of those races where I don't even want to watch the first couple of laps. It's
Michael,
crazy.
help us out.
The key is going to be this restart. We talked about it at the beginning of the day. It's just so hard to get 875 horsepower hooked to the ground. There's a little bit of dew in the air. You know, it's getting cooler. These tires are going to struggle to hook up. We've seen Carl Edwards almost in the infield on a restart. So if he can nail the restart, I like his chances. But getting that done, it isn't easy.
7 different winners in the last 7 years. That list does not include Kyle Busch. Maybe it's time.
He's the restart king, and that's going to pay off.
Matt Kenseth got that great pit stop. He's in a position to win. Greg Biffle led the most laps tonight. Maybe.
I don't know if you can tell or not. Me and my brother are a mess. I mean, we've been in this battle, Mike. We've been out there trying to win the All-Star race. We know what these drivers are up against.
Well, and how about your driver, David Rudiman, up there in 5th place?
Well, the team did a great job on pit road, got him out, but all night long he's had a fast car, so he's in a position to win the All-Star race.
And with our 2 guys that are going to start on the front row here, can you say Phoenix? Do you have a memory of? Do you think back to Phoenix? These two guys were not happy with each other at Phoenix.
If you remember at Phoenix, Carl was on the inside of Kyle. Kyle comes off the turn, runs into the wall, and runs into Carl and knocks Carl out of the race, and he had the fastest car. Okay, Carl's down on the inside of Kyle now. Will he pay him back? Give him that. You talked about it's time to get even.
But you know what? Here's the other thing I think you got to keep an eye on. That 99 has got some help up there. He's got 2 teammates right there. Kyle Busch is surrounded by those Roush Fords.
3 Fords mixed with 3 Toyotas ahead of 4 Chevrolets. 10 green flag laps, $1 million to win it. Carl Edwards gets a little bit of a jump, and it's on.
Notice Greg Biffle, man, he is right there. Boy, this is where Greg has had a hard time keeping his car on the bottom, but he does it this time.
Kyle Busch hangs tough on the outside, runs good through 1 and 2, and is
got the momentum. Biffle likes that bottom if he can hold it. Can he hold it? No, he's going to have to get out of the gas a little bit. Kyle's going to clear him.
Edwards, Busch, Biffle, and Rudeman, the front 4.
I tell you, that 99 is so stout tonight, though. Man, he can just go where he wants to. He's got a great car coming up off the corner like a rocket.
Third place, here comes Rudy.
Rudy Tooty, fresh and fruity. It's coming.
David Rudeman has won here at Charlotte before. He's up for 3rd, and Kurt Busch has bounced off the wall at turn 4.
Boy, he did. Boy, look at old David Rudeman. He's looking around there, Michael. He's got a little shot here.
Well, now I got 2 problems. I'm nervous about the race, and I'm nervous about that car and how he's going to do.
Oh, boy.
These guys are so intense right now, Mike. Rudeman to the bottom, Kyle higher line. Biffle starting to look around up top.
And Stewart coming. And Mark Martin's got a bit of damage.
Mark's got a lot of damage to the right front. His right front is all jacked up in the air.
Now watch Kurt Busch into the wall, and below, watch Jimmy Johnson and Mark Martin get together.
Yeah, Jimmy tried to get away from the 22. I think Jimmy thought the 22 would bounce off the wall. He was looking for a little room.
That's hurt both cars.
Look at it, Michael. Look at that lap. Look at that 28.68 on Carl Edwards.
Fastest lap of the night at lap 92 for Edwards and Rudeman and Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart got into the back of Biffle exiting turn 4 there. Got Biffle a little bit sideways. Tony's going to make that pass.
I think I'm not sure that I would have driven up in front of him. That might not have been a good idea.
Biff to the bottom.
Wow, look how hard Biffle drives down into the corner.
Biff's on a mission.
And Mark Martin goes to the garage. 5 laps to go.
You know, when you're sitting there, Carl Edwards pulling away ever so slightly from Kyle Busch, and the most frustrating thing you can have is to be where Kyle Busch is and see $1 million driving away from you.
And all Carl Edwards is thinking about right now is I got to do my job and hit my lines, and please don't any of y'all spin out. I don't need a caution.
Look at that. That's $1 million just right up there, just right up in front of you. Go on up there and get it.
7 times in Sprint Cup racing, Edwards and Busch have finished 1-2.
I think if Kyle Busch was smart, he'd start trying to find another line to run, see if he can pick up a little speed here. He might as well go for broke.
And you know, there's not any side-by-side racing right now. Everybody's sort of strung out, and this is good for Carl. He doesn't want to see any accidents. He doesn't need a caution.
3 more times.
He just needs to run about 4.5 miles and be done with this baby.
4 laps to go. Quickest car on the racetrack is Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch. Tony Stewart right with them in 4th.
Mike, Carl has just been so hooked up all night long. He can run the bottom, and that's really been his big advantage. Right there, he is on that white line, both ends of the racetrack.
In the prior 4 years that this has been a 4-segment race, no one has led at the end of segment 3 and gone to victory lane. Carl Edwards is trying to break that string.
Kyle Busch did exactly what I said he should do. He moved up the racetrack, running a little bit higher line, and he is closing that gap on Carl Edwards in a hurry.
He was 3/10 quicker than Edwards that lap.
He is coming big time. Look at this gap right. Look at it close in 3 and 4.
Lap and a half to go.
Oh, they want it so bad, Darrell. You know that.
White flag.
He's going to catch Carl going into turn 3. Don't know if he can do anything with him or not, but he's going to catch him.
Edwards on the bottom.
Kyle just said he waited too long to move up. I think if he moved up sooner, he might have caught Carl and had a shot at him, but it's going to be too little too late.
2 more corners for $1 million. Edwards comes up a groove. Busch close, but not close enough. Carl Edwards wins the Sprint All-Star race and $1 million.
All right, baby. Awesome work. Awesome work, Mr. Ed. It's over, right? It's over. That's it. Checkered flag's off.
When Darrell Waltrip won the first Sprint All-Star race.
This thing. You guys are unbelievable. Woo!
Darrell won $200,000.
You got to get behind the show car there.
Carl has banked that much tonight in bonus money. He's going to take home $1,203,000.
You know what I like most about that 10-lap segment, Darrell? Carl had it loaded up.
Here he comes.
Oh my gosh!
Oh boy!
He just tore his car all to pieces. He hit this manhole down there. He tore it up.
Sorry about that.
He tore the whole front off of it. He was going to do a Matt Kenseth thing. He didn't know there was a manhole down there.
You can get behind that show car over there on pit road.
I don't think
that's going to happen.
He's going to get behind a record. What he's going to get behind.
That is awesome.
Gosh.
He didn't make one mistake all night long till then.
He just didn't. There's a man cover down there. I think there's a cover down there that he hit.
In your words, dadgum cars tore all to pieces.
Dadgum cars tore all to pieces, Mike.
Here we go, $1 million backflip.
But at least he made it down here. He's got to be sick about his car, though, because I bet they were going to use that thing next week.
They can fix it now.
Carl Edwards becomes the 8th different winner of the Sprint All-Star race in the last 8 years, and he wants to go celebrate with the fans. Oh my goodness.
Here comes the record you spoke of, Darrell.
Remember at the top of the night when we said checkers or wreckers? How about both?
This just really isn't turning out exactly like he had planned. But watch this, Mike. I mean, this was a good idea. He was going to come down through the grass and do a little sliding. But what he didn't realize is somewhere right along in there.
Look at tore the whole front end off.
Well, the car about turned over. That's crazy, man.
Checkers and wreckers for Carl Edwards.
I did an incredible amount of damage to that race car. I wonder what Carl's thinking right along then.
Oops.
Oops.
You know, I bet he's thinking Jack's not going to be happy about this.
Oh man,
that's a shame. I feel sorry for him in that situation.
Look at all the water running out of the radiator. Busted that.
Here he goes. Ooh.
Closed his eyes.
And
you see that?
I bet he said, "What in the world just happened?"
I messed up the car, guys. Sorry about that.
This part turned out all right. Nice form. Good landing. That's a 10.
Stuck the landing.
His takeoff was terrible, but the landing was pretty good.
Dick Berggren's with the runner-up.
And the boss, Joe Gibbs, has just shaken your hand, giving you a round of applause. You want to win these things. Golly, you came so close tonight.
We sure did, but, you know, we finally finished one, too. So this was a good race for us. And can't thank M&M's and Toyota, Interstate Batteries, all the people that stand behind us here at Joe Gibbs Racing. And it made this a fun night for us. You know, we come up a little bit short, but we got beat by a faster car. I mean, best I could have done was something on a restart, and I didn't get a great one there on that final one, but you know, it was I still kept up with him a little bit, but he was just too fast, got away from me, spread the gap too far, and by the time I was trying to run him back down on the top side there, it just took me too long to get back to him, and a few more laps maybe I would have got him, but you know, all you had was 10.
Where did his speed come from? Where was he so good?
Just grip. He was just so good through the corner, you know, and being able to, once he got his car turned, he didn't even need to finish turning his car, you know, it would kind of turn and he would hammer the throttle and it would just continue to turn and just drive up off the corner, and that's what we look for every week, but it would drive up off straight, you know, it wouldn't be loose, you know, he could just keep the power down and stay committed to it, where, you know, sometimes, you know, when we try to do that and go too hard on the pedal, it'll kind of start stepping out and you kind of got to steer too much into it, but our car was really good. You know, it was steady there the last 10 laps, and like I said, just kind of ran out of time. So proud of my guys, though. They gave me a great piece and something to come out here and finish the race with at least. Take home a second. It's disappointing, sure, but, you know, at least now we know what it takes to win one of these things, and maybe we can get it next year.
Kyle Busch and his crew, a solid performance to finish second tonight.
Oh, very much so, Dick. The 4th runner-up finish for Joe Gibbs Racing in the All-Star race. Carl Edwards joins Mark Martin and Matt Kenseth as drivers who have won the All-Star race for car owner Jack Roush. We'll celebrate with him live on Speed after this. Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway and NASCAR Victory Lane on Speed, fueled by Sunoco. In tonight's NASCAR Sprint All-Star race, it was checkers, then wreckers. For Carl Edwards and Roush Fenway Racing. Oh well. Celebratory backflip. A visit with the fans in the grandstand. And tonight, Edwards has 1.2 million reasons to celebrate. They made it toward Victory Lane. Here's Steve Burns.
Mike, the backflip spectacular. Visit to the crowd, wonderful. Race car, not so good. It's a bit of an impromptu Victory Lane out here.
Yeah, anytime you have grass on the windshield after the race, it's not good. I got to thank right off the bat Aflac. They are now hiring. If you didn't notice, they're hiring. It's a great place to work. I think Ford, our Fusion was great. Kellogg's, Scott's. Fortunately, Scott's, I can have them send some seed, grow some grass back there.
Yeah, you're going to need it.
I had no clue that drain was there. And I guess NASCAR's mad. They think we're hiding something with that car. But that was a pretty big accident. Subway, the fans, and especially Sprint for putting this on. I'm going to take a picture of you, actually, with my phone.
Thanks, Carl.
And that's $1 million. We just won $1 million.
1.2.
Well, they added 20. That's great. Thank you very much, Brent. I really appreciate that. I love you, Kate. Just unbelievable.
Carl, you had a fantastic race car, but what was the key to winning this race?
The key to winning this race are the guys behind me, and one of them is Jody Fortson, who lost his father. I want to say hi to Sheila Fortson watching, Bob Osborne and my guys, especially the guys on pit road. I mean, they could have dropped the ball. That was all the pressure in the world on those guys. They performed a flawless pit stop. We got out in front of Kyle, and he is a bear on those restarts, and so if we would have started behind him, I think it would have been really tough. So just unbelievable. I feel so bad about tearing up the car, but Bob says he's got a faster one for next week, so I'm pretty excited.
What did Jack Roush say to you? I saw him laughing.
Yeah, he said I could come work on that thing this week if I'd like to. So I told him I'll be busy. We're running the Polaris Mustang tomorrow. He's still yelling at me over there. Running it up in Iowa. I'm pretty excited to see the fans up there in Iowa. It's just unreal. It still hasn't sunk in. I mean, this is the All-Star race, and we just won it. It's crazy.
Congratulations, Carl Edwards, winner of the All-Star race. Krista?
So Carl stuck the landing. His car did not. And he was joking that it's a good thing it was 1.2 million. He might have to donate that back to Jack Roush, Jeff. And Jack has made drivers work on the cars before, so don't be surprised if we don't see Carl in the shop next week.
No. When it comes to the cat in the hat, I promise you right now, he doesn't like tearing up his race cars, but even tonight, being able to win this $1 million and the way they did it, in convincing style, I'm sure maybe he may just forgive him just a little bit because of what went on.
And we thought it would be tempers. It was another T track position that was key for that win.
It was all about track position. All these guys right there knew right there at the end what needed to be done. We knew it was going to be a great battle between Kyle Busch and Carl. But how about David Rudiman? Started 18th, was able to fight his way all the way up to 3rd, and you can't leave out the fact that the rest of the Roush Fenway cars, the other 4 cars, all finished in the top 10, including David Reagan, who won the transfer race to get into this.
A great job for a couple of Davids. You mentioned Reagan and Rudiman. Dick is standing by with David Rudiman.
Okay, David Rudiman, a solid run tonight. Happy with the performance of the car and your crew?
Absolutely. My guys did a phenomenal job on that pit stop and got us a lot of track position there. And my hat's off to everybody, to Michael Walter Racing. The air machine was good tonight. Dax Carringer, Rodney Childers made some really good adjustments on the end. And like I said, that pit stop made the difference. And I got to thank Sprint for this race. I mean, this is a phenomenal race and a lot of money in the short race. It's kind of right up my alley. So we enjoyed it and looking forward to the 600.
Everybody wants to win this thing. You finished in third place. How frustrating is it to watch $1 million go away from you?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, but, we haven't had the kind of year we were hoping to have. So, getting out of here with a car in one piece and having some good speed, and it's phenomenal. Feels good, and also another MWR team manager, Brett Moffitt, won tonight. So he's off to a good start too. So we got some tire money for the old man's car, so he's happy, and we're good to go now.
All right, congratulations, Michael Walter, David Rudiman finished third tonight.
Well, more than anything, this is a race for the fans. Carl Edwards won the fan vote last year but finished last. Tonight, Jeff Hammond, he finishes first and takes home the cool $1 million.
Hey, you don't get much better than this, does it?
And we're going to continue talking to drivers. More Victory Lane with NASCAR Victory Lane continues.
NASCAR Victory Lane is fueled by Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR. Put the fuel of NASCAR in your car. Brought to you in part by Cici's Pizza, home of the endless pizza, pasta, salad, and dessert buffet. And by Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil. Put some NASCAR in your car with the One, Mobil 1.
Welcome back to Charlotte, everyone, where the 27th running of the Sprint All-Star Race is in the history books, and we have brought the show to Victory Lane this time around, here to bring you the excitement of 1.2 million reasons for Carl Edwards to smile after this race tonight. I'm John Roberts alongside of Larry McReynolds, filling in for race car driver Kenny Wallace.
Kenny Wallace never had this many notes.
He does not. I mean, Larry has Larry has an encyclopedia here.
I've been going since the sun came up this morning. I've had a lot of time to accumulate these.
And there was a lot of notes to be taken because an exciting race all along. And you know what? Just going back in history a little bit, it was Larry McReynolds who this morning said Carl Edwards was going to win this thing.
Well, they've been fast ever since they unloaded yesterday morning, and we knew that the Roush Fenway cars were going to be tough, and they did not let us down, because you look at David Reagan, sits on the pole, wins the showdown, and when it was all said and done, in this all-star race, all four of the Roush Fenway drivers in the top 8.
Well, it was the race to get in the race. Before we had the Sprint All-Star race, we had the showdown, and that was a chance for 2 drivers to race their way in to the big show. Here is race number 1 in the evening as the sun was setting in the west, and the Sprint Showdown took center stage here. We had a fairly eventful race along the way because these guys knew that all they had was 40 laps to work their way up into the field, and here we go, Larry, trouble in the early going.
Yeah, Landon Castle in the 09 had a left rear tire going down. Looks like he was going to go down the racetrack, but then went back up right in front of Derek Cope in 64. You talk about a lick, guys, and that's probably running about 160, 70 miles an hour.
That was a really hard hit right there, because as Landon comes up, as you said, Derek's got no place to go, and he's right in the left rear quarter panel of it.
Well, that is not a yellow for caution. That is a yellow for the mandatory break in between the 2 20-lap segments, and here was where we started to see some strategy come into play, Larry. A little trickery on the pit lane.
David Reagan, the 6 car, they lost this race a year ago because they pitted right here for 4 tires. They were not going to pit this time, as well as Paul Menard and Brad Keselowski in that 2 car.
And those were the class of the field right there, as you saw, and crew chief Drew Blickensturfer knew they had to do something to get this thing won.
They're not going to catch it because the tire's here. We just got to focus on this restart. That's probably going to be our race right here.
Time to go back to green flag with the restart, and look at Brad Keselowski, Kyle.
Incredible. You got to make something happen for yourself, and Brad Keselowski made something happen. And you heard Drew say, this restart's probably going to be the race right here. I think they thought that was going to be the race right there, and Brad just jumped, and Brad had a great start.
The theme tonight, Larry, was all or nothing. You had to be in the top 2 or it really didn't matter.
Well, David Reagan knew if he could finish second, he was going to transfer, but he caught Brad Keselowski with about a lap and a half to go, and he said, you know what? I want the trophy. They don't give us a trophy for finishing second.
Exactly. So they needed to win this thing, and that's exactly what David Reagan did with Brad Keselowski second. And these two guys now get a shot at running for the big money in the big show. And you know what? The work was still to continue, and that brings us to our Polaris hardest working pit crew of the evening. These guys had to go back to work. They had to take the pit box and roll it down the aisle and put it back in there because they had to go racing once again in the Sprint All-Star. Let's take a look at the results from the All-Star race. Of course, the two you got to look at, David Reagan and Brad Keselowski. Talked to Marcus Ambrose for a second after the race, and all he did was smile and say, well, we tried.
Yeah, and you know, Marcos and AJ, they got caught racing with each other. There's two teammates. We talk about teammates and stuff. These guys got caught, and while they were racing, those other two guys drove off.
And you saw Joey Logano in that 20 car finish 5th. Remember, he had to go to the rear of the field for an engine change, and we had a shot of him just absolutely beating the steering wheel because he didn't make it into the big show.
He looked a little disappointed after that for sure, and here's the rest of the guys who ran in there. Landon Castle, Derek Cope, of course, were involved in that wreck early on. They finished 26th and 27th. Now, as they transfer up, we're going to transfer up to the big show as well, as Kyle Busch was fastest in qualifying, and he led us to the green flag.
Yeah, and I mean, he, for the most part, there for the first few laps, he just checked out, but it's almost like he had a short-run car. His car got to where it wouldn't turn very good.
Yeah, you know, I think they were in a position where when they started the race, if this had been the last 10 laps of the race, they were the king of the hill. But the way the racetrack changed as the night went on and stuff, they could run for 10 or 15 laps. But I'm going to tell you, those Roush cars, and Greg Biffle surprised me in this early part of the race.
Lap number 26, number 22, Kurt Busch was definitely disappointed at the way this evening went. Not what he was hoping for.
That was another stellar stop. Man, we are dialed. I'm sorry, guys, but I just lost all composure on how to do anything right now.
And remember, this is our defending race winner here, and he had to have the pass-through penalty.
Yeah, those pit stops run to green at lap 25. Everybody had to make a 4-tire stop, and his crew went over the wall too soon, so he already was a lap down and wasn't even halfway through the first 50 laps.
If you don't think this race is emotional, you can see the frustration early, but definitely a ton of frustration for Casey Kane.
Yeah, I think the 16 and the 4 just got hooked together right there. There wasn't a lot they could do, but the 4 was the one that suffered because of it. It's just one of those racing things when you get into it.
What kind of damage you got?
None, never touched him.
Well, as you take another look at it right here, Kyle, it looks like he did not touch him.
No, he didn't. And it looked like he came back across the hood. And even from the shows that we watching the thing on TV, I thought that they'd gotten together. I've not seen this replay.
This is a battle for the lead between the 5 of Jimmy Johnson here and the 99 of Carl Edwards. And Carl Edwards was going for it tonight. He looked like he was just not going to be denied.
And how Jimmy Johnson got out there is on that caution at lap 50. He was one of the drivers, along with about 4 others, that came to pit road for 2 tires only.
Lap number 90 meant that we were going to come in the pits. We're going to have 10 minutes to look over these race cars, and then we're going to come back for this all-important pit stop, Larry, where you had to race yourself off pit road, and you would restart for that 10-lap shootout where you made it off pit road.
Yeah, and for the most part, everybody went off pit road where they came in, with the exception of Matt Kenseth in that 17 group. They came in pretty much running about 7th, went out 4th.
And this is what we wait all year long for. This is why we watch this All-Star race, the 10-lap shootout. But in this case, Carl Edwards was not to be caught.
Yeah, and we saw this in almost every segment. The guy that got clean air, from the very beginning was the guy that could just drive away. And the 18 car was strong, but not enough for Carl.
On his 6th try, Carl Edwards is now an All-Star winner. And this crew was awful happy about this until that. There's a drain in the middle of the infield there. And well, he almost rolled the car here, really. Look at the drain. Goes down and catches it. You know, he just thought he was just going to tear up a little bit of turf, but he tore up the race car.
It absolutely destroyed that race car.
He said, sorry, man, but here it comes, the backflip. It's famous. Whoa. And he stuck the landing. Let's take a quick look at the results, see who finished where. And of course, the one that matters, Carl Edwards up top, won $1.2 million. Not a bad payday for Kyle Busch, but then again, we don't really remember who finishes second in this thing.
And how about David Rudiman? Started 18th and finished 3rd.
And I'm going to tell you, that 29 car, Kevin Harvick, was junk in that first part of the race. He came back to have a decent run.
And not a very good night for Hendrick Motorsports. Top finishing driver, Jimmy Johnson, back in 11th.
That was a tough break right there, but as the fireworks explode over Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll be back with much more Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. Sometimes it's checkers or wreckers. Sometimes it's checkers and wreckers. As Carl Edwards showed us that, well, in his victory celebration, he found a drain in the infield. But you know what? We like to get you right to the heart of the matter. Right to the heart of the matter. And now we have the missing piece of Carl's car for you. Right.
eBay, baby, eBay.
Yeah, I would say they will not reuse that piece.
Now, Kyle Busch has come so close to winning these All-Star races in the past. This was his 6th attempt. Once again, it was not to be. And after the race, he spoke with Dick Berger.
And the boss, Joe Gibbs, has just shaken your hand, giving you a round of applause. You want to win these things. Golly, you came so close tonight.
We sure did, but you know, we finally finished one too. So this was a good race for us, and can't thank M&M's and Toyota, Interstate Batteries, all the people that stand behind us here at Joe Gibbs Racing, and it made this a fun night for us. You know, we come up a little bit short, but we got beat by a faster car. I mean, best I could have done was something on a restart, and I didn't get a great one there on that final one, but you know, it was I still kept up with him a little bit, but he was just too fast, got away from me, spread the gap too far. And by the time I was trying to run him back down on the top side there, it just took me too long to get back to him. And a few more laps, maybe I would have got him, but you know, all you had was 10.
Where did his speed come from? Where was he so good?
Just grip. He was just so good through the corner, you know, and being able to, once he got his car turned, he didn't even need to finish turning his car. You know, it would kind of turn, and he would hammer the throttle, and it would just continue to turn and just drive up off the corner. And that's what we look for every week. But it would drive up off straight. You know, it wouldn't be loose. You know, he could just keep the power down and stay committed to it, where, you know, sometimes, you know, when we try to do that and go too hard on the pedal, it'll kind of start stepping out and you kind of got to steer too much into it. But our car was really good. You know, it was steady there the last 10 laps, and like I said, just kind of ran out of time. So proud of my guys, though. They gave me a great piece, and something to come out here and finish the race with at least. Take home a second. It's disappointing, sure, but, you know, at least now we know what it takes to win one of these things, and maybe we can get it next year.
Kyle Busch and his crew, a solid performance to finish second tonight.
Over. Yeah, and you know, Dick, eventually he has got to win one of these things because he comes so close every year. Right now, we're going to check in with our good friend Adam Alexander, who's over at Speed headquarters, not too far away from the Charlotte Motor Speedway, for the rest of what's going on in the world of motorsports. Adam?
Here we go with the Speed Center update. F1 qualifying in Spain Saturday morning. Sebastian Vettel's perfect qualifying streak is over. Defending race winner Mark Webber, his teammate, scoring his first pole of the year. You can see the Grand Prix of Spain tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. right here on Speed. The Eyes on IndyCar Series had qualifying today for the Indy 500. Dario Franchitti not on the pole. He ran out of fuel. Alex Tagliani is the first pole for Sam Schmidt Motorsports. Congratulations to them.
Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. And there goes Carl Edwards in a very big bottle of champagne because they have a very big paycheck after winning this race. Now, in the first year as an owner-driver, Tony Stewart won this All-Star race in his very own number 14 car. It was a great start to that chapter in his racing career. And tonight, didn't do too shabby either. Came home with a top 5. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Tony Stewart coming on like gangbusters at the end of this one. Unfortunately, didn't get quite up there, but it looked like you had a good piece at the end of the race.
Yeah, I think we did all night. I mean, we were a little free at the beginning and got a little tight in the middle and didn't quite get free enough at the end, but I'm pretty excited about it. I think we got a package that's going to be good for next weekend, so pretty excited about tonight. And it's with the way our luck's been this year, I mean, we've had the worst luck I've seen any race team have, so the way we ended up tonight, we'll take it.
I'll tell you what, it was an exciting race to watch for the fans. I mean, how was it for you inside that race car? Because you never knew what to expect on the racetrack.
Well, I mean, it was a pretty tame night, at least from the All-Star perspective. But it's definitely a little different than the first race tonight. It was a little wilder, but you know, you get this group of guys out there, and it's you know, you're racing with the best. You're racing with guys you're comfortable with, and you know, guys are doing stuff a little bit, pushing the envelope a little more than they would on a normal night. But you know, everybody knows that going into it.
Tony Stewart looking forward to the 600 next week.
Thanks, Bob. Coming up in our next segment, another Bob. This time, crew chief Bob Osborne will come talk to us about his part in winning this big payday for Roush Fenway Racing.
NASCAR Victory Lane is fueled by Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR. Put the fuel of NASCAR in your car. Brought to you in part by Hamburger Helper. 1 pound, 1 pan, 1 tasty meal. And by Charlotte Motor Speedway. Get your tickets to the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway May 29th by calling 1-800-455-FANS.
It takes a team to win one of these all-star races, and Carl Edwards' team was hitting on all cylinders. We have crew chief Bob Osborne with us now. And Bob, first of all, congratulations, man. What a great win. Yes. And how does this one stack up with all your other ones?
I would have to put this one pretty close to the top. You know, we actually have not run very good at Charlotte for quite a few years now, and practice yesterday, we were pretty happy with the car, and then being able to produce tonight makes me feel really well.
Bob, we know Goodyear brought a great tire here, but it looks like Bob Osborne brought a great car here. You changed, but prior to lap 90, you changed right side tires once and left side tires none. 90 laps on those left side tires.
Yeah, the Goodyear has brought a great tire here. It has a lot of speed, has a lot of grip. Driver, you know, Carl really likes it, and our teammates have really liked it also. So we're really looking forward to the 600 now.
You know, they make a big deal about this, the media does that, but all these cars are kind of alike. And I know Carl takes the checkered flag. Was there any point in time coming out of turn 4 that you're thinking, when he's coming down to do his burnout, that might be a good car for the 600, until he did his little show here on the front stretch?
I was telling Jack about 5 laps to go, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to take this thing, bring it back here for the 600, and I really wasn't paying attention after we, you know, took the checkered and came around. Everybody's high-fiving and everything, and next thing I know, I see the car torn all to heck. So I was like, well, blows that, I guess.
The record looked good with all the confetti on it,
yeah.
man.
Don't let him give you a hard time about anything again.
As long as you get it to victory lane, it doesn't matter what it's in. Hey, Bob, it is time now for our Weight Watchers Online for Men question for tonight. When did it click in your mind that, hey, we might could win this thing?
Actually, I didn't really even think about what was going to happen until after we had that last restart. You know, you never know what's going to happen. In years past, it's been so a lot of turmoil in the last 10 laps, so I figured, we'll see what happens here. But once we got a good restart there and got some distance on Kyle, it was looking pretty good.
In the big picture, Bob, a great night for Roush Fenway. David Reagan wins the showdown, and all 4 Roush Fenway cars in the top 8, and they took the checkered flag for the All-Star.
Yeah, it was a great weekend for Roush Fenway. You know, congratulations to David. It's his first Cup win, which is great. Drew, crew chief there. All in all, Roush guys, very happy with their cars. You know, obviously maybe not quite the finish they wanted, but still great finishes. So I think we're all looking forward to the coming race here.
You know, looking at you guys, as you say, as a group, you guys run good. The car that surprised me the most was Biffle. I didn't expect him, looking at the practice times and looking at stuff, but he said his car was really good.
Yeah, and I agree with you. You know, how when I first looked at his times after practice, I wasn't, you know, too keen on what they had going on, but talking to Greg and Greg, they both were very happy with their car. They just never put a second set of tires on in practice.
Hey, Bob, can we get you to sign our Sunoco checkered flag for us here?
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Usually an honor reserved for the driver, but tonight we have the crew chief doing it because it was a great team victory for the number 99. And each week here on NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, one lucky fan will receive a Sunoco checkered flag autographed by the winner or the winning crew chief of the race. Enter online at speed.com, keyword Sunoco, to win the flag that Bob Osborne just autographed. And Bob, congratulations once again. 1.2 million reasons to smile all the way into the 600. Thanks for joining us, everyone, for this edition of NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. And keep it here on Speed.